Thank you, Mark. Well, let's get straight to the teams, because from the side that beat Schalke in the Champions League in midweek, Manchester City make one alteration. Zinchenko for Gundogan. So Ederson in goal, a back four of Kyle Walker, Otamendi, Laporte and Zinchenko. Fernandinho then moves into his more accustomed midfield role alongside David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, and a front three of Raheem Sterling, Sergio Aguero and Bernardo Silva. For Chelsea, bearing in mind they played a slightly weakened side against Malmo in the Europa League, they've made three changes from the side that took on Manchester United in the FA Cup fifth round. Barkley for Higuain, Willian for Kovacic, and the other change is Emerson for Alonso. So they have Kepa, Arrizabalaga in goal, as Palaqueta, Rudiger, Luiz and Emerson as a back four, Barkley, Jorginho and Kante as a three, and then the front three of Pedro, Hazard and Willian. And what is interesting is when you compare those two 11s to when they met a fortnight ago and City thumped Chelsea 6-0, both have made two changes each. Emerson for Alonso at left back that we've talked about, Willian for Higuain for Chelsea, and the two changes, there's no Stones for City, and David Silva of course comes in for Gundogan. And I just wonder how much of that performance and that humiliation that Chelsea suffered and endured a fortnight ago will still be in the minds of the Chelsea players, Jermaine Jenas.
Oh, it'll be firmly in there, firmly. But yeah, I think in a way where they're looking for a reaction, and I hopefully think we'll see a reaction from those players tonight, because a lot's been said about the manager and not changing this and not changing that. The bottom line of everything is, once you've been beaten in such a way when you're at a club like Chelsea Football Club, you'd hope that as individuals you can look at each other, you can get together and say that's not going to happen again. We're going to go into that cup final and there'll be some form of payback, or we're going to put a performance that allows us to put that nightmare to bed. So hopefully from the Chelsea point of view, they have the ability to do that today.
Well, the opening 5-10 minutes just to see how the Chelsea players are, we'll probably gauge quite a lot, won't we, in terms of their body language?
I think so, yeah. And with that, if he is going to press from the front, and this City team, as we know, will not just kick it long all of a sudden, do they have the ability to maintain that Chelsea? When they do get passed through, do they still maintain the press at the top, or are they going to drop off? I mean, we're going to see which style of play they're going to go with. I personally think they should drop into some form of shape, make it difficult for them to break down, and keep the lines between the midfield and the three forwards very tight, but we'll see.
Well, our referee is John Moss. Will be underway very, very soon. The Manchester City supporters are housed away to our right. When the two teams came out, there was just a sea of sky blue and white flags that were being waved by every Manchester City supporter away to our right-hand side, as the 2019 Carabao Cup final is underway, and Aguero, inside the opening 10 seconds, has gone down inside the centre circle. Well, he's back on his feet now, is Sergio Aguero.
Well, they've been given a free kick as well by the looks of it.
Now VAR is in operation, and I just wonder if referee John Moss, he was clearly caught by, was it Ross Barkley?
No, I think it was Jorginho that had stopped him from pressing, basically, but it doesn't seem like they're going to review it because play's continued.
So we're back underway after that very early stoppage in the opening 10 seconds, where Aguero appeared to be taken out inside the centre circle. Manchester City have got themselves a corner kick as they attack the Chelsea end of the ground. They didn't necessarily have as many flags. Instead they opted for a few royal blue and white scarves, and not necessarily with every supporter it appeared to be swinging them around above their heads. De Bruyne, former Chelsea player, to take the corner kick. In it goes towards the near post and headed away by Ross Barkley. So Manchester City in their sky blue shirts and their white shorts are playing from right to left against Chelsea in the royal blue shirts and shorts. Ederson drilled that so hard and low, almost rebounded back to him off the feet of Hazard. He wasn't expecting it. Ederson, who is in bright orange, away to our right hand side. 0-0, BBC Radio 5 Live. Out towards that far side, Bernardo Silva on the right.
it looks to me, from Chelsea's point of view, they're going to go with the 4 at the back. In midfield, though, instead of Pedro and Willian playing high next to Hazard, they seem to be playing a little bit deeper. So almost a 4-5-1 with Hazard up top on his own.
Here is Otamendi for Manchester City. Every outfield player is in the Chelsea half as Chelsea drop off. And now Otamendi out to Walker over on that far side. And the ball is just being knocked around the back at the moment for Manchester City. Chelsea at this stage are quite happy for the defenders to have it as the ball then goes out to Walker on that right hand side. Forward ball goes behind Kevin De Bruyne, and Luiz will play it short, and then Emerson will chip it forward towards Ross Barkley, not too far away from his own penalty area, and then Luiz will win a throw for Chelsea as it came off charge down by Kevin De Bruyne. I'd still like to see that incident with Aguero again.
Yeah, look, from the kick-off, obviously Manchester City want to set the tone. Chelsea, when they lay that ball back, they don't want their player to be put under pressure. And I think Jorginho's just trying to block the run from Aguero to press him, and his arm did seem in a bit of a weird position, whether he caught him or not. Aguero seemed to get up pretty sharp and got on with the game. They got the free kick, but that's what tends to happen sometimes from kick-off. It's a lot of blocks go on.
Manchester City with Laporte in the centre circle, comes now into the Chelsea half, and once again is just faced by that wall of royal blue. Fernandinho dropping in between the two central defenders, pings the ball across towards Bernardo Silva, slides it forward and just too far ahead of Kevin De Bruyne, and will run out for a goal kick, which Arrizabalaga is in no real hurry to take. Just settling down, aren't they, Chelsea?
Yeah.
Being patient.
Their defensive shape that they're getting into looks like it could be tough to break down. Willian and Pedro could get frustrated if they're doing that for the whole game. They're attacking players. They like to play on the front foot, so you'd expect them to be wanting to be in higher positions, and they've been pinned into at the minute.
Emerson forward on that far side, the left ball played in field towards Hazard, surrounded by 4 sky blue shirts. Now it's up with De Bruyne for Manchester City. De Bruyne, though, can't get the ball in field, blocked by Kante, picked up by Aguero, runs forward right hand side, appealing for handball there as it struck the body of Rudiger. Referee John Moss says play on. Aguero then slips, and in the process of slipping has taken out Rudiger, and that will be a free kick to Chelsea. 0-0. BBC Radio 5 Live. We're in the 5th minute of this League Cup final, where Chelsea are hoping for a change of fortune at the National Stadium, because they've lost 3 times at Wembley this season. The Community Shield back in August to Manchester City, and then to Tottenham in the Premier League, and of course also in the first leg of the semi-final against their London rivals, before coming through in the second leg to book this Wembley appearance in the first bit of silverware that's up for grabs for this season. Arrizabalaga back to Luiz over on that far side. Luiz will carry the ball forward midway through his own half. Kante has made a darting run through the middle just as the Manchester City defence actually stepped up. Hadn't spotted the run of Kante. Both managers now are in their technical areas as the ball is out towards this right hand side and well off target, drifts out of play, and Zinchenko will take it back towards Laporte. But we've hardly seen it. Well, we haven't seen anything of Chelsea as an attacking sense, have we, in these 6 minutes so far? Just trying to contain Manchester City, really, as the ball is played by Laporte. Cut out by Barkley. Hazard lays it back. Ball played forward by Jorginho to Hazard. Now nicks it out towards this right-hand side where Pedro goes in field. Kante. Manchester City then drop off. Goes back to Rudiger. Luiz in the centre circle. Across towards Emerson. Back with Luiz on the halfway line. As Pilaqueta thought about going forward, then comes out a little bit short because the ball is out with Rudiger. He will go long, looking for the run of Hazard, and it will drop over the shoulder of Laporte, and out of play it goes for a goal kick. Jermaine Jenas.
It's going to take Chelsea, a good few minutes just to kind of find that balance between being defensively a lot more secure, dropping off into those spaces, and then allowing themselves to play a bit freer and get closer to Hazard. But I think first and foremost they do need to play this way. They do need to frustrate City as much as they possibly can, and then try and gain some foothold within this game and take it from there.
Well, Liverpool fans listening to 5 Live on their way back from Old Trafford after picking up the point that takes them to the top of the Premier League after that goalless draw. Roberto Firmino has been spotted leaving Old Trafford on crutches. Not good news. Substituted 7 minutes before half-time after picking up an injury in that goalless draw. Liverpool next in action at home to Watford on Wednesday night. As Sterling gets the ball down from Zinchenko on the left-hand side. Sterling holding off Rudiger. It's a real old tussle. Sterling showing his strength and still willing to go past, but helped out by Pedro. And it will be a Manchester City throw on this left-hand side. It's a day where they've been replaced by Liverpool at the top of the Premier League, but they are looking to retain the League Cup. The last team to do that, in fact, was Manchester United back in 2010. 0-0. Sarri just wanders out of his technical area. Seemed to think that the hand gestures he was signalling, that they're maybe seeing a little bit too deep. He looks exasperated already, does Maurizio Sarri. Just away from him to his right hand side, in a grey sweater, is Pep Guardiola with his arms folded, watching on. Sterling turns, cleared away though by Jorginho, picked up now by Kante for Chelsea, slips it inside, stepping forward to intercept Fernandinho. Zinchenko just outside the centre circle. Otamendi's forward ball reaches Bernardo Silva. Emerson backpedals. Bernardo Silva slips it inside. De Bruyne goes square. Fernandinho helps it on to Zinchenko. Chips the ball forward. Little flick header there by David Silva and gathered in by the goalkeeper Arrizabalaga.
He just wanted it on the floor there. Zinchenko gets it in that left back position, and Sterling's position had dragged Azpilicueta almost right out to him, and David Silva made a great run. He just needed it to be played into his feet, and he's chipped it up to his head, and he's had to flick it on. It's a bit more quality, and he could have been in there, David Silva.
Still 0-0. 11 years ago to the exact day, 24th of February 2008, when Jermaine Genius was a winner here with this competition, with Tottenham Hotspur beating Chelsea. How time flies, JJ.
I know. Got beat in the final the year after as well, which wasn't the most pleasant experience. So I had a bit of both.
Kante, Barkley, Jorginho spreads it out towards that far side. The applause is from the Chelsea supporters. Willian back to Emerson, the left back, infield to Luiz. Once again, Kante has made that run, this time spotted, and Kante might wriggle free. Zinchenko is on the cover, and the left back did enough to stop the run of Kante. Chelsea were looking for a free kick there. Referee John Moss is having none of it.
He didn't seem to get any contact on the ball there, Zinchenko. And Kante is definitely not one to throw himself to the ground. It's just whether it was enough contact from Zinchenko to call it a foul.
We've been playing for 10 minutes though, but that was the second time that Kante has made that dart forward with a burst of acceleration.
I think that's a foul. I really do. I'm surprised that one's not been picked up, because, well, he's last man, he's in on goal, and I think that's a foul from Zinchenko.
0-0. Thing is, with VAR, it can only be used for goals, penalty decisions, direct red cards, or mistaken identity.
The only thing I would say is kind of before that anyway, just for example, if VAR did come into it, I think there was a handball. It may have landed on Kante's arm as it fell over the head of Laporte, so it would have probably picked that up before the incident.
Neither side has created any opening in these 11 minutes here, as Arrizabalaga has sliced it out of play. It'll be a Manchester City throw on this near side, the left. Every stoppage in play, Guardiola is using it to talk to his team. He's just barking out the orders to Laporte at the moment, who will carry the ball towards the centre circle as Manchester City play from right to left.
He'll just be etching out a new plan. You know, he may not have expected them to be as defensive as they are in this game, Chelsea, and he's just probably asking them to be patient. Use the width, because that is obviously where the spaces will be. If you can get Zinchenko and Sterling 1v1 against Azpilicueta, and the same with Walker and Bernardo Silva on the other side, then the spaces will open up, as we saw with David Silva, and nearly got in earlier.
Laporte will switch play out towards the right back. Walker lays it off straight away to Otamendi. 5 Live in the World Service from the BBC here at Wembley Stadium. We're in the 12th minute of this League Cup final. Chelsea again have dropped off. Manchester City being patient. Laporte forward. David Silva goes back to Laporte once again. Fernandinho and Laporte exchange passes, and now to Otamendi to come forward. Bernardo Silva holding the width on that right hand side, but at the minute they go back, the press from Willian into the centre circle, and Laporte now will bring it out towards this near side and find Zinchenko infield to Sterling, back towards David Silva. Keeping their shape at the minute, Chelsea just shuffling across the pitch. Manchester City then again go out towards the right hand side. Bernardo Silva just drifts infield a little bit, almost level with the penalty area, then looks to go on the outside of Emerson, still has the ball. Emerson though quickly retreated back into position. Manchester City, Laporte threads it through, miscontrolled by David Silva, and then the back pass to Arrizabalaga, and once again, a little bit like you on the golf course, JJ's put it out of play.
You've not been watching me play lately, Dano. Shouldn't say that, actually. You know, can make my handicap come down even further if I tell everyone I'm decent.
But that's twice though that Arrizabalaga has pulled it out towards this near side. Still 0-0. Just thought I'd get my retaliation in first.
Yeah, well done.
Otamendi to Laporte, forward ball. Oh, that was given away. Now can Chelsea come forward? David Silva slides in to win the ball back. Fernandinho, is there that little pocket of space for Manchester City to try and exploit? Because there were 3 royal blue shirts then that had moved forward for Chelsea. David Silva is able to turn. Aguero, good challenge from Rudiger, breaks towards Willian. He's going to come under pressure by Bernardo Silva on that far side, and then Bernardo Silva fouls Willian. Free kick to Chelsea, goalless.
Brilliant from Willian, it really is. He had absolutely nowhere to go. He had about 3 City players chasing him down. He just dropped a little shimmy to Bernardo Silva, bought himself a yard, and ended up getting the foul just to give his team a little bit of breathing space. You know, it's good that he's made a change, and that defensively he's going to make them much more frustrating to play against. But you know, how long is Hazard going to accept this? How long is Pedro going to accept it? How long is Willian going to accept not having the ball in this game? Because you know, these are players that are used to dominating games, and it could be a frustrating afternoon for them.
Just a fortnight ago, at this stage in the game, Chelsea, in that 6-0 defeat, were already 2-0 down at this stage. In fact, they were 4 down after 25 minutes. But they haven't offered Manchester City an opening yet as we approach the quarter of an hour mark here at Wembley Stadium. Laporte to Otamendi. From a spectacle point of view, we're just watching Manchester City try and break down this stubborn Chelsea side at the moment. Everybody is back for Chelsea. They haven't been able to unlock the Chelsea defence, as Laporte will play it out towards Zinchenko on this left-hand side. But primarily our heads have been focused away towards the left-hand side, because that's the way that Manchester City are attacking, as we sit in our commentary booth just to the right of the halfway line, behind the dugouts here at Wembley Stadium. Walker back with Otamendi. Laporte once again will come forward. Aguero wants the ball played over the top. They go with Zinchenko instead as the short option. Cantel head it forward. Pedro now lifts it towards Hazard. Hazard waits for the ball to settle, turns. Laporte and Zinchenko quickly towards him, out of play for a Chelsea throw.
You know what, there are times where, as this game's developing, if you could just freeze it for a second, you know, the risks that City are almost having to take to try and find the spaces behind Chelsea. With De Bruyne is playing behind the 5 in midfield, David Silva's playing behind the 5 in midfield, the fullbacks are pushing on, so if they give one away, Chelsea have got like 5 players almost against 2 if they just win it and counter-attack really quickly. City are recovering well at the minute, but they've really got to be careful with each pass that they make in that situation.
The voice of the former England international Jermaine Jenas, who's with us here at Wembley Stadium. Rudiger goes back to Arrizabalaga. Luiz back to Arrizabalaga, who's going to come under a bit of pressure. Out it goes to Emerson over on that far side. There's the press, the trigger point from Manchester City, and Kyle Walker will win a throw over on that far side. Not necessarily convinced that the goalkeeper wanted it back from Luiz as quickly as that, but they've managed to get away with it. Here is Zinchenko. Zinchenko in the centre circle. He's left of the centre circle now and back with Otamendi. Across towards Kyle Walker over on that far side. De Bruyne drops off, back with Otamendi once again, and exchanging the passes now with Laporte in the centre circle. Zinchenko, Pedro will come across towards him. Zinchenko, faced then by Kante, back towards the halfway line to Laporte. De Bruyne drops deep to collect the ball, plays it through the middle towards Bernardo Silva. Aguero makes the run in towards the penalty area, lays it out towards Walker. First time cross, Raheem Sterling brings it down off his right foot. Azpilicueta will partially clear the ball away. Sterling then back to Zinchenko. In comes the cross, header away by Luiz. Chelsea can't get out. Fernandinho back towards Sterling. Flag stays down. Sterling to measure the cross. Strikes the thigh of Luiz inside the penalty area. Maurizio Sarri is wandering down the touchline. He's desperate for those Chelsea players to get out. They're inviting Manchester City onto them. Kevin De Bruyne out towards Walker. De Bruyne then strokes it back. All Manchester City at the moment. Laporte to Zinchenko, getting an update from the Rugby League in a moment. But Zinchenko now at left back, across to Otamendi. And Chelsea just trying to contain this Manchester City side. Walker now is forward, level with the penalty area, goes back. De Bruyne strokes it back. Otamendi, first time. Laporte just outside the centre circle in the Chelsea half, across towards the left. They're working Chelsea from right to left. Back in field, Zinchenko. Fernandinho on the stretch, looking towards Sterling. Out of play it goes. Here we're level at Wembley, and we've been playing for 19 minutes. There's the goal kick from Arrizabalaga, headed away by Otamendi. Barkley to Kante, cut out by Sterling. That'll run back. It's almost the approach of like Mark Pugac said to you in the build-up to the game from Chelsea, like how a lower league side would look to try and set out to contain Manchester City.
Well, you know, this is the influence of Pep Guardiola on the Premier League that we're seeing right now. Our best teams are having to succumb to, you know, his tactical nous and superiority over everybody else in the league right now, and I can't argue with it from Sarri's point of view. I think it's the right play to frustrate City for as long as he possibly can. He's going to have to open up at some point, he knows that, but he needs to get some confidence in his team that they're not going to concede every 15 minutes against Manchester City first and foremost.
Chelsea have got Celtic have got a fourth goal in injury time. 4-1 they lead Motherwell. Bernardo Silva into the penalty area with a cross, headed away by Rudiger. Good job too, because Aguero was making the run in behind. Kevin De Bruyne, does he win a corner? Yes, he does. Last touch came off Emerson and did enough to shield the ball away as it just dropped over the byline over on that far side. It's been taken short and quickly. Bernardo Silva to David Silva, right corner of the area. Kyle Walker's going to play it back out towards De Bruyne. Comes inside, it's a left-footed cross, headed away by Ross Barkley. You can see though that the Chelsea supporters behind that goal are getting frustrated.
Look, they expect better. They're not used to their team coming into cup finals and sitting on the edge of the 18-yard box.
Ball played long, and Willian couldn't keep it in play. Manchester City take the throw quickly on the right-hand side. Absolutely flown by so far. Just Manchester City total domination, yet unable to create one real opening in these opening 20-odd minutes here at Wembley. Fernandinho, Zinchenko out towards Sterling. So in that sense, Chelsea are doing the job because they are nullifying the threat of Manchester City. Kyle Walker out towards Bernardo Silva, up against Emerson, level with the penalty area, right corner. Bernardo Silva now comes in field, sends over a chipped cross towards Aguero, off his chest, and Aguero with a right-footed effort, always on the rise, always going over the crossbar. Goal kick Chelsea, 0-0, first real opening.
Yeah, it's a brilliant effort though from Aguero. Good work from Bernardo Silva on that right-hand side, running at Emerson, gets it onto his left foot, and he actually picks out Sergio Aguero at the back post, flights it towards him. As it comes onto his chest, he kind of waits, and as it lands on his chest, he kind of bursts into life, knocks it past Azpilicueta, and it's on the volley. It's a tough one, always rising.
Let's go to the touchline. Juliet Farrington.
Yeah, just watching Maurizio Sarri and Paul Tierney, who's the fourth official here. I think this is the third time that Paul has had to come out and tell Sarri to get back into his box, because he keeps strolling and wandering down and out of position as well. And now Paul is just standing there to make sure that Sarri doesn't go past him during this game.
Yeah, at one stage he was midway through the Chelsea half away to our left-hand side, the way that he was just wandering. We're midway through the first half. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. It's the League Cup final, and it's Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. And to take you through to half-time, here's our correspondent John Murray.
Thanks, Ian. And I must say, I think this Chelsea approach is entirely valid and sensible. And a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Maurizio Sarri, not cutting the mustard tactically. And tactically today, they are playing it very, very safety first.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I was just sitting there thinking, if he was going to play this way, is there a reason he didn't play Higuain? Because Higuain, I would say, holding up the ball, naturally, being that central figure, is what he's done his whole career. But he's probably feeling maybe Eden Hazard wouldn't do the job that Willian can do on that left-hand side, and I need to play Eden Hazard, so that's obviously why he's left him out. But you're right, John, I just feel that, from City's point of view, they're playing well, but there's no doubt they're a little bit frustrated by things as well. I just think Chelsea can be a bit cuter, a bit smarter. They will catch them out on the counter-attack soon.
Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Jermaine Genius with us on BBC Radio 5 Live, and I think also the fact that possibly a little bit of pressure on this whole quadruple situation here. It's not going to be straightforward for Manchester City today, unlike a fortnight ago. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0, and City with the ball in the central third. Going to go to Rome in a moment. Ireland were 26-16 up last we heard, but Manchester City with the ball in the centre circle. Otamendi just strokes a pass to the right hand side. De Bruyne has dropped very deep, plays it down the right hand side, and City onto this with Walker, but it's given away by the Manchester City right back deep inside Chelsea territory. And now we can see Chelsea beginning to bring it away themselves, just as Jermaine Genius described a moment ago. Hazard gives it to Willian on the left hand side. Willian hits a low crossfield pass. Pedro gets the ball under control. He's approaching the penalty area, challenged by Zinchenko, went down, but he'd already found the pass to Jorginho, and John Mas is going to bring it back for the free kick for that challenge on Pedro. So free kick to Chelsea. It's almost halfway between the midpoint of the Manchester City half and this right touchline. Chelsea playing from left to right.
Right now, every Chelsea player is in an offside position.
Willian waits. Willian hits it with the laces out towards the far side. It's nodded back across, but the target was Azpilicueta inside the box, but De Bruyne was able to get there first, and Manchester City have cleared it. Not completely there. Player's gone down on the far side. I think it's David Silva, but no free kick. Chelsea still in possession. David Luiz forward and left to the centre circle. Eventually David Silva climbs to his feet over there on the far side, but Chelsea have gone back into their own territory and actually played all the way back towards goalkeeper Kepa, who is fit. A little bit of a doubt of a hamstring problem. I bet he didn't thank David Luiz for that early pass, by the way, when he was under pressure. If he does have a little bit of a hamstring niggle. Ball played forward for Chelsea, but that's way over the top of Hazard and bounces through to the goalkeeper at the other end, Ederson. 26 minutes played, BBC Radio 5 Live. World Service are with us as well from all parts of the globe. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0 is the scoreline here in this Cup final, Carabao Cup final 2019. It's the first time that Chelsea and Manchester City have played each other in either of the major English domestic cup finals. But I think it was always inevitably going to come, given the amount of success that these two clubs have had over the course of the past 10 years. Here's Fernandinho, stretches for it, doesn't reach it, but it runs to De Bruyne. Back now to Laporte in the centre circle. Pass to Zinchenko on the left-hand side. Zinchenko up towards Aguero, just stabs it out of the penalty area. Aguero, who had one of the few chances that we've seen so far in this match. De Bruyne, a lovely turn away from Jorginho. Gives it to Sterling on the left-hand side. Sterling tried to dink his way into the penalty area, but little Kante was in there, went down on one knee and cleared it out for a throw.
It was a toe poke from Kante just to clear it, but Raheem Sterling cutting inside with intent. Kante doing what he does best and just sensing the danger.
Already today, 2 matches in the Premier League. Arsenal won 2-0 against Southampton. Finished Manchester United 0, Liverpool 0. And we will have interviews, post-match interviews from those matches at half-time in this match here at Wembley. Here's De Bruyne moving in from the left-hand side. De Bruyne gives it to the edge of the box. Aguero now shooting on the turn, but Kepa was able to go down to his left and smother the shot, which I think might have taken a deflection. Jermaine?
Yeah, definitely took a deflection. It was a good little bit of play, though. I love how City just, they can knock it around from side to side. They will stretch you, but then they just burst into life. And it's usually Sterling or De Bruyne that are the architects of that. And on that occasion, it was a good ball from De Bruyne into, I think it was David Silva, laying it off to Aguero. And the strike, as you said, John, just took a deflection.
So 0-0 here at Wembley. Celtic 4-1 up on Motherwell. That was a 3 o'clock kick-off earlier. Rangers won 5-0 at Hamilton. Finished Luton 1, Coventry 1 in League 1. Manchester City coming forward down the right-hand side. And it is David Silva who uses Bernardo Silva at close quarters. Chelsea have got 3 men in there, but Bernardo Silva goes away and then is upended by David Luiz. Brilliant piece of skill by Bernardo Silva. Yeah, typical Bernardo Silva. Change of feet, and David Luiz came in like a locomotive.
It's absolutely brilliant from Bernardo Silva, and it's absolutely shocking from David Luiz. I mean, he's just come sprinting out from centre half without for a second thinking, I need to stand up here. I need to stand up. He's tricky. And just it was the easiest moves from Bernardo Silva, just to go by him, and then he starts complaining. David Luiz, I don't.
What's he complaining?
I don't understand. He's just absolutely taken out Bernardo Silva. It's ridiculous defending.
He's booked. So that's the first yellow card. Yes, it is.
He's had that kind of lackadaisical look about him today, and it never usually goes well when he's got that look about him.
No, you're right. So it's a free kick in the full-back position. David Silva runs over the ball. De Bruyne, an outswinger. David Luiz was there to head it away. All of that frizzy hair bobbing. And then it's played over the top by Bernardo Silva, but that just drifts into the gloves of goalkeeper Kepa. So Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Incidentally, another feature of this match and the way that Chelsea are playing it, with Willian on the left, Hazard in the middle, and Pedro on the right-hand side. Hazard clearly to orders, very much looking after Fernandinho as well. He's never too far away from Fernandinho, and therefore Fernandinho's influence so far in this match has been limited. Emerson at left back, no Alonso involved today, not on the bench either. David Luiz then plays the ball out here to the right hand side. Pedro gets his head down and scurries infield, and then actually passes the ball straight into David Silva, and that has looped to Bernardo Silva, but Pedro actually followed up and was able to whip it away from him. So now we've got Pedro, Willian and Hazard all on the left wing together, and now it is Hazard who takes it up. Hazard, 2 Manchester City players, he draws them both, then gives it to Pedro, who's still on the left flank. Then it's played back towards Barkley, middle of the half, little touch to his right to Kante back to Barkley. Barkley looks up, plays it over the top. Crucially, Fernandinho had dropped back and got his head to it to avoid it dropping into the path of Hazard.
I mean, Azpilicueta has to get higher up the pitch here. He does. I mean, they've got good possession. They get high up into Man City's half for once, and he's sat at right back. Kante was desperate for a ball out wide there.
Still 0-0. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Premier League champions of last season against the Premier League champions of the season before. The winners of the Carabao Cup last season, Manchester City, against the FA Cup winners of last season. Turned out to be Antonio Conte's last match in charge at Chelsea, didn't it? The cup final. Wondering if history might repeat itself. By the way, Chelsea's winning FA Cup final captain, less than a year ago, Gary Cahill, completely out of the picture. And they say that he does have a little problem, Gary Cahill, that's the word anyway, little back problem, but has been just so far away from the first team this season. Manchester City supporters to our right, all applauding in unison, and I wonder if that's a little signal of support. I haven't heard this, but for the Manchester City fan who was seriously injured in Germany when we were there this week, and obviously we'll send our best to him. I know all City fans will have been affected by that. Here the ball.
It's a nice touch if that's what it's
I suspect it will be. And a huge cheer from those City fans. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. City with the ball inside their own half. And Chelsea setting up in this match a good deal more securely than they were at the Etihad a fortnight ago. Here's Kante now taking the ball on down the right, gives it to Hazard, looking for the return pass to Kante, and across comes the covering challenge from Otamendi, who plays it to Ederson, who again, as ever, just waits till almost the last possible moment as Kante's bearing down on him just to pop it away. An off City goal, and here they are with Zinchenko, the young Ukrainian, gives it to Sterling. Sterling cuts inside Azpilicueta and then plays a square pass to De Bruyne. De Bruyne gets the ball under control. He plays it to Walker on the right hand side. Walker into the penalty area. De Bruyne is available behind him. The cross deep towards Sterling. He heads it across goal. David Silva nods it back, and then Rudiger throws himself at the ball to clear it away for Chelsea. That was more like it from Manchester City. They're going to have to be at their ingenious best to find a way through against this Chelsea side in the way that they've been set up today by the under pressure Maurizio Sarri.
They're playing well, City, and I think they're moving the ball quickly. It's all about tempo when you come up against a team that just want to sit in tempo, and the gaps will open up.
But Chelsea, I would say, are playing well as well. Playing to order.
Yes, they are, but it is taking me back, I suppose, to when we were talking about a Chelsea team that couldn't score, and they were on the search for a new striker, and it was all, yes, we play some nice stuff, but we never look like scoring. That's kind of what I'm watching today. I think, the sitting in part is good. They're making it difficult for City, but they need to find that other side a little bit more. 1 or 2 more counter-attacks, just to make City think, actually, we can't go full press here and have it all our way.
And also the other thing as well, I think Chelsea so far in this match, 10 minutes to go to half-time, 0-0. I think they've shown these players that they've got a bit about them, after what happened a fortnight ago.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that. I do feel that the structure is helping them in doing that, and it's now, when do we get to see the other side? When do we get to see we're Chelsea Football Club, we're a huge club within Europe, and we play football as well, rather than just defend, because you can't help but feel that someone's going to switch off at some point, and City will get in.
Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0, live from Wembley Stadium on a lovely afternoon. Last weekend in February, you can hardly believe it. Dry, it's been sunny all day. Ball played back to Rudiger, who just got the ball caught up underneath his feet. Azpilicueta then sends a ball over the top. This is for Hazard to chase. Laporte gets there first and allows it to bounce behind off Hazard for a goal kick for Ederson to take. In the second half, both of the teams will be attacking towards the ends where their own supporters are. Manchester City to our right, Chelsea to our left. 1 or 2 seats in the central tier that are empty, and 1 or 2 in the top tier as well, I can see when I look under the roof. But of course, cup finals for these 2 teams now are so common. In fact, for Chelsea, this is their 15th final under the tenure of Roman Abramovich. So that's 15 finals in 16 years. Here is Fernandinho, who's tackled by Kante, and therefore the ball runs back to Chelsea, and then Fernandinho gets up and he's all over the back of Hazard, and it's a free kick, and some of the Chelsea players just gathering round referee Moss there and making the point that that's a foul on Hazard by Fernandinho, who knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of those flying around. I think, if I'm thinking on Fernandinho's point of view, he'd lost the ball. He was trying to win it back, but he was trying to guess where Hazard was going to turn, and he just didn't get on the right side of it. It wasn't a yellow card, I don't think, in my opinion.
No, but I think the point...
The Chelsea players were definitely, trying to get him booked.
Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0.
That's pretty standard, though, James.
If not now, then maybe next time.
Yeah.
Louise?
It's always nice just to remind the referee every now and then.
Yes, I know, you cheeky. I know what you're like. Here's City with the ball inside their own half. Sky blue against the royal blue of Chelsea. Otamendi with the ball at the back, although that's not how these blues are described in the official blurb. More on that in a moment. Zinchenko going back into their own half. Here is Laporte, who stands up but will just play it square into Otamendi, who will take the ball away from the back. Crosses the halfway line. Otamendi sent off in the week in the arena of Schalke for the second yellow card, but Manchester City thrillingly were able to do the job in the end. Leroy Sané, the free kick hero on the bench again today. Here's Sterling on the left-hand side, who scored the winner in Germany on Wednesday night. Brilliant finish that too as well. Here's Laporte. Laporte just plays it square. Otamendi, this is very, very patient stuff. First half of so few chances. Walker now to De Bruyne on the right hand side. De Bruyne does well, gets to the byline, gets over the cross, a high looping cross that actually bounces into the opposite full back position. Sterling now goes round Azpilicueta, cross to the near post, that's headed down by Jorginho, back to Sterling inside the penalty area, 2 Chelsea players around him. Azpilicueta goes with Sterling again and plays the ball off Sterling and through for a goal kick.
You can't help but watch Raheem Sterling against Azpilicueta and just feel that he feels he can do whatever he likes against him, and that just shows you the confidence of Raheem Sterling at the minute, because Azpilicueta has arguably been one of the most consistent defenders in the league over the last 5 years, but you can tell he's just got that little bit of fear with Raheem and on how to handle him. He's not strong enough to deal with him, he's not quick enough to deal with him. Just get him the ball as much as possible has got to be Pep's message.
Kepa's goal kick hit right down the middle, and Manchester City have got possession back. Fernandinho turns, he finds Barkley in front of him, gives it to the right hand side. Walker strokes the pass towards little Bernardo Silva, who plays it back into the Manchester City half. Same pattern here again. This is much more like the game at Stamford Bridge before Christmas, although Manchester City actually in the first half played much better than they have here. Chelsea have really restricted the Premier League champions. Fernandinho lifts a pass here to Zinchenko. Zinchenko's cross, after controlling it, is caught by the outstretched arms of Kepa. Aguero went the ground there, but nothing's made of it. And then David Silva is fouled by Kante. Referee's playing the advantage. The ball bounces into the area. Said he was going to bring that back for the... Surely a foul on David Silva.
He did it earlier, didn't he, for Chelsea? So surprised that he didn't bring that one back. It was a blatant foul.
Still Manchester City come again. De Bruyne went round the outside of Willian, who checked him. He went down, De Bruyne, and it is a free kick to Manchester City on the right.
Yeah, I think I can see why De Bruyne has gone down there. It didn't look like Willian had actually fouled him, but early when he's taking him down that right hand side and driving with the ball, Willian's got his arm out and he's pulling on his arm. He's pulling, he's trying to drag him back, and De Bruyne obviously feels that he's knocked out of balance and goes down, and they've got a free kick in a good situation here.
Yeah, the shorter man, Willian, nudged him with the top of his elbow, and the City players actually, with referee Moss there just before the free kick, going across and saying, why wasn't that a free kick for Kante on David Silva in a central position?
Again, John, always worth just making him aware.
Yeah, make him aware.
Planting that seed.
Yeah.
See if it grows later on.
But they were right.
No, they were, definitely.
Right. 3 minutes plus added time to go. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. A final that's really yet to really take fire because of the way that Chelsea have played it. But it's a free kick over on the far side. Good set piece chance. David Silva runs over it. De Bruyne plays it into the edge of the 6-yard box. No one gets a touch. Everyone jumped. No one got a touch. Sterling on the left. Sterling's ball in. David Luiz's head. It's hooked back across. Rudiger was there to get up and head it away for Chelsea. And Hazard cleared further away towards the halfway line. David Luiz glance on his head very nearly fell for Manchester City inside the Chelsea box, but it is still 0-0. Manchester City again in possession. They've dominated the possession of the ball, Pep Guardiola's team, but created next to nothing. But here's Sterling, lovely ball through to David Silva, left side of the box, tried to play it back across, but it was blocked by the legs of Rudiger. He snapped them together and his shins blocked it behind for a corner.
Yeah, it's a good play. That was the first time really they've managed to create an overload on one of these sides, and it was David Silva getting involved with Zinchenko and Raheem Sterling. The ball through to him was perfect. He just couldn't quite find the cross. Some good defending from Rudiger in the end just to stop the cross coming in.
Corner then. De Bruyne has taken his time, walking all the way across here to take this right-footed. Here's the delivery towards the back post. Laporte was after it, but was beaten in the air. That was a very good defensive header for Chelsea. Volleyed away by Hazard. Manchester City continuing to press. Zinchenko takes it down, spins the ball into the area. It's centred by Walker, but Kepa is able to drop on it.
Oh, it was a great ball from Zinchenko, though. The clearance comes directly to him, and he just hits it on the half volley diagonally towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and I think it was Otamendi who ran onto it, couldn't quite get enough onto it to square it across to a waiting David Silva. I think we've got an issue with Luiz by the looks of it.
He's just sat down on the edge of the 6-yard box. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. We'll be 6:06 tonight, by the way, once we're done here at Wembley. Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. Just on the shirts, Jermaine. Officially, we're watching teams wearing field blue and rush blue.
Oh, really?
Which do you think is
field blue and rush blue?
Blue and rush blue.
If I had to say field blue, I'd probably say that's Man City.
Yeah, correct. Brilliant. Your talents are endless. You turn up, you summarise, you look great,
thank you, mate.
Get all the answers.
I know.
David Luiz is back on his feet.
I just had to tell Deno to mind his fingers as well. He's just tucked into lunch early doors.
I see those big fingers.
Well,
yeah.
Nearly took one off a minute ago with his fish finger.
Yes, Willian playing the ball forward for Hazard to chase after Laporte. No, Hazard bounces off him. Hazard now into the penalty area, drags it back brilliantly, beats Otamendi, then plays it past Otamendi again, and his shot is blocked by the recovering Otamendi, who having been beaten twice, wasn't going to be beaten thrice.
I like that, John. That is unbelievable from Hazard, isn't it? It reminds me of, like, on the kid on the playground who's just the best at football and everyone else is trying to get the ball off him. It was one of those moments. He had the whole Man City team trying to get the ball off him in the 18-yard box. He's dropping a shimmy, he's chopping, he's knocking it around. Otamendi, it was brilliant play, but it's what he's resorted to because he didn't have much support at all.
Do you see that video this week of that little girl playing football? Do you see that? She must be about four years old. It was just like that.
Really?
It was just like that.
Brilliant.
And it was almost Hazard there. Almost Hazard saying, I might have to win this
on my own. Well, that's how it looks. He's making runs in behind. In fairness to him, he's kept his attitude. He's given it a right go, but
Ian's just put one of those big fingers up in the air. So we'll have 1 minute of added time. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Here's Willian on the right-hand side. 2 City players with him. Plays it back to Hazard again, and the crowd, as a result of that, begin to grow in expectation. But he tried to nutmeg Bernardo Silva. How impudent is that? Bernardo Silva blocked it away and then fouled him, brought him down. Hazard, so it's a free kick to Chelsea on the right. He's not had much of an opportunity, but he's showing Eden Hazard he's in the mood. The man who scored the winner in the FA Cup final from the penalty spot last season. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. 5 live in the World Service. Willian with a free kick, curls it into the back post. It's come off Manchester City head. Otamendi, both he and Fernandinho went for the same ball, and Otamendi headed it back down just wide of his own post.
Well, there wasn't a Chelsea player in sight either. It seemed to be under such control. Obviously a complete lack of communication. That should be coming from Edison as well. He can see everything. He should be screaming time, let it go, but he doesn't. Fernandinho kind of blocks the sight of Otamendi, who nearly heads into the back of his own net.
Corner, Willian to take it in added time at the end of the first half. Good time to score. Swings it into the near post and it's blocked, and John Moss blows the whistle. Ross Barkley was at the near post but wasn't able to flick it on, and we've reached half time after a 45 minutes of very few chances. Aguero had a chest down and volley over, had the shot on the turn as well. And there was that incident early on in the game where Kante was through and Zinchenko came in with a challenge, but as you said, Jermaine, quite rightly, it would probably have been ruled to have been a handball by Kante in the first place. But Chelsea have played this very cannily, and we've not seen a goal yet.
No, I mean, you can't help but feel going in 0-0 at half-time, Sarri has to be delighted with that. He will fully understand that he needs to adapt certain things at half-time, that he needs to find a way to get more support to Hazard. Maybe Willian and Pedro may have to take a few more risks at times. They may have to pick a time to go and press, go and win that ball, because the more pressure that keeps getting heaped onto that Chelsea defence, are they going to be able to stand strong? So far they have, but we always know that City somehow find a way. So that will be the worry for Sarri.
So in the 2019 Carabao Cup final here at Wembley at half-time, it is Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0.
Well, we need something. I mean, Chris Sutton for 606 says it's Sarri Bohr. The spoiling tactics of Chelsea certainly aren't making this cup final to be a great spectacle. They're like a boxer with both hands tied behind the back. So let's see if they show a little ambition, adventure in the second half for a cup tie or a cup final, as we're back underway, that Manchester City have absolutely dominated, yet haven't created too much with it. So the second half is underway. That one change, Kompany coming on for Laporte. Of course, he played the last 20 minutes against Schalke in midweek. That was his first appearance since Liverpool in early January. Sky blue shirts and white shorts for Manchester City as they play from left to right against Chelsea in their royal blue shirts and shorts, and a free kick to Chelsea is won over on that far side. So Ederson is in goal for Manchester City. Walker, Otamendi, Kompany and Zinchenko now the defence. A midfield of David Silva, Fernandinho and Kevin De Bruyne, and a front three of Sterling, Aguero and Bernardo Silva. Chelsea have Arrizabalaga in goal, a back four of Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Luiz and Emerson, Barkley, Jorginho and Kante the midfield three, Pedro, Hazard and Willian. Willian to take the free kick, drops inside the penalty area. Kompany is back there to usher it out, and does it last touch the knees of Walker? Well, if it did, it was already across and over the byline as referee John Moss points to a goal kick as the supporters around us take to their seats. Let's get the early thoughts of this second half from Jermaine Genius.
Well, I was just thinking there that must be about the fifth free kick in almost an identical position for Chelsea, and City are doing really well keeping a really high line, but it also feels to me, unless they make a big change, Chelsea, it feels like it's the only way they're going to win this game, through a set piece. It is ugly, it is boring the way that they're playing, but the bottom line of it is if they manage to lift the trophy at the end of it, who cares? Nobody cares. So I just think that those set pieces, they need to take a little bit more care, because they might be able to get something from them.
You see the headlines tomorrow: stalemate, to reflect not only this game but also Manchester United 0, Liverpool 0 in the big game in the Premier League. Bernardo Silva coming forward. Of course, it's got to be settled here with the possibility of extra time and who knows, penalties. De Bruyne with a cross. Aguero just couldn't get over it, and it just brushes his dyed hair. Collected over on the far side by Sterling on the left. Sterling delivers the cross into the penalty area. Comes out to Fernandinho, and his right-footed shot is well off target for a goal kick. 0-0.
That's a big chance for Fernandinho. He's better than that. I think it's David Luiz who comes flying out for the block. May have put him off, but usually 20 yards out, bouncing ball. He's got great technique to strike that towards goal. But what about that ball from Kevin De Bruyne into the box? Just whipped him with such pace. I mean, Aguero, I just feel like he should have got something on it. I think Azpilicueta just did enough to nudge him out of the way.
It had Guardiola turning away in frustration as we await the first goal of this League Cup final here at Wembley between Chelsea and Manchester City. 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. Kompany, the substitute, heads it forward, flicked on then by De Bruyne, headed back though by Barkley. Willian to Emerson, comes under pressure, loses the ball. De Bruyne now takes over, strides forward. Emerson though gets back at him and gets enough to win the ball back for Chelsea. Here is the left back, Emerson. Back to Luiz, and Luiz inside his own penalty area forces Rudiger out wide. He tells Azpilicueta to get on ahead of him. Goes back in field. Edge of the penalty area for Luiz to run forward. Emerson midway through his own half, and because of Bernardo Silva, he'll go back to Arrizabalaga, and Chelsea once again building from the back. Azpilicueta will chip it forward. Little touch there by the head of Pedro, who was then caught. Referee John Moss will give a free kick to Chelsea on the halfway line over on that far side, and it'll give them an opportunity. In fact, they take it short to Jorginho. Rudiger, Luiz, out to this near side to Emerson, plays it forward. Willian back to Barkley. Walker was quick to close him down. Walker will win the ball. Manchester City now with De Bruyne. Diagonal ball into the penalty area. Arrizabalaga gets a hand on it and then does enough to divert it away from Aguero without actually catching the ball. There were a few.
He was lucky.
He was lucky. City have won the ball back again, up towards Aguero. Aguero to the edge of the area, out to the left-hand side. Sterling waits. 3 Royal Blue shirts around him. Back to Zinchenko, the left back. David Silva, Otamendi. Every outfield player is in the half away towards our right-hand side as Fernandinho along the ground finds Kyle Walker. He'll then go on the overlap, but Bernardo Silva runs in field, takes Emerson with him. Fernandinho back with Otamendi. Walker has stayed high up on the pitch on this near side, the right. In space as well, but the ball is back just on the edge of the centre circle with Otamendi. Curls it back out. De Bruyne, deep, early. Walker, right-hand side, looks to go on the outside of Emerson. Walker delivers the cross. Emerson got something on it to take a lot of the pace off the ball. Emerson then, did he keep the ball in play? Forward, runs out of play, and it will be a Chelsea throw. And Emerson is going to take it. Hard to believe when these two sides met in their only previous final in the 1986 full Members' Cup, which was a 5-4 victory for Chelsea, which remains the highest final in Wembley history. Not that we're going to get that amount of goals here today, that's for sure. But they actually both played in the top flight the day before.
Wow. So when was that?
That was 86. I was surprised to read that. Chelsea beat Southampton away 1-0, and City were involved in a Manchester derby against United, a 2-2 draw, before then coming down within the space of 24 hours. Wouldn't happen now. That was, of course, a competition that was formed because of the European ban after the Heysel disaster the year before. 0-0. Looking to get 1 goal, let alone 9, the way this game's going. Emerson. Out of play it will go for a Manchester City throw. Hazard reluctant to hand the ball on to Kyle Walker. In the first half there was only one side who was out to win it. That was Manchester City. Very defensive Chelsea, but whether you agree with it or not, the tactics certainly worked because Manchester City really were restricted to create opportunities. Kompany floats a ball out towards Sterling. Zinchenko goes on the overlap on that far side, the left, not required. Sterling then tries to play it forward, closed down by Pedro. Out of play it goes for a throw.
He's got a lot more protection today, Azpilicueta. Pedro's doing a brilliant job on one side. Willian's done a very good job on the other. Just in those wide areas, just doubling up on them, really. I think what Pep's probably looking for now is just applauded a diagonal ball that's gone out of play. I think that's what he wants more. Switch the ball a little bit quicker, so it allows more 1v1 situations.
Emerson, forward ball, flag stays down, Hazard's onto it, Hazard in the penalty area. Hazard then stopped by Otamendi. Well-timed challenge by Otamendi. Had to be as well. City up towards Aguero, lays it off towards De Bruyne. Maybe openings now for Manchester City. De Bruyne finds Sterling. Sterling left corner of the penalty area. Sterling enters the box, cut back towards Sterling. Sterling is there, closed down by Kante. Cross comes in, loops, might fall towards Bernardo Silva. Arrizabalaga will punch and the referee's blown his whistle.
Just feel like
game breaking out there.
Well, I think obviously Chelsea going on the attack allowed City just to find a few spaces in there. It was great defending from Otamendi. When they work this wide though to Raheem Sterling, and Zinchenko makes a very good run on the overlap, I'm just thinking cut inside Raheem and have a shot, or cut inside and find someone. But the pass to Zinchenko just kind of killed the attack a little bit, and Chelsea got back in and nullified the situation.
So it still remains 0-0 here at Wembley, and we've been playing for 54 minutes of this League Cup final, and there is a stoppage in play. Pedro is got a blow to the base of the back, and John Moss will just wander across to check on him. But like Ali Bruce Ball, will be hosting 606 with Chris Sutton after we've finished here, and the usual number 08059099693. Would like to look at that incident in the opening seconds where Jorginho appeared to catch Aguero, because if ever there was an instance for VAR to look at that, then that was certainly one. But we might only have to wait until after the game to find out if that was the case, as the sky blue flags are flying away towards our right hand side as play is back underway. Bernardo Silva. Back to Walker. Fernandinho unmarked. Now closed down by Kanté. Fernandinho runs back out towards this right touchline. Bernardo Silva level with the penalty area. Looking for the run of Kevin De Bruyne. Wins a corner. I think the last touch came off Emerson. Corner kick then to Manchester City as they attack the end where their Manchester City supporters are housed away to our right. 10 minutes into the second half.
Vincent Kompany, can be a bigger problem than Laporte from these set pieces.
De Bruyne to take the corner kick. In it comes, headed on by Otamendi, headed away, back towards Otamendi. Aguero flags up. Will not count. Aguero's turn and shot into the back of the net. But the flag was raised. They will, however, check with VAR, as Aguero thought that he'd put Manchester City ahead. To credit the assistant referee, the flag was raised straight away.
Yeah, he's got this spot on, the referee. I think Chelsea do really well to get out in numbers. It seemed as though he was offside a lot more than that. It was half a yard though, and it was the right decision from the linesman. Good spot.
Andy Halliday on this near side, the assistant referee with the correct decision. Although John Moss is still waiting to hear from the VAR referee Martin Atkinson. There'll be uproar if they were to give it, because he was clearly offside. On the giant screen it says VAR check in progress, check in goal, and the lines on the monitor are now in operation.
Well, they're looking at the feet. That's the problem. They're looking at Rudiger's heel and Aguero's heel, and they're level by the looks of it. This could be given.
Well,
this could be given.
Now from that angle, that looks a lot tighter than when we first saw an initial replay.
Well, he's not given it.
No.
I saw a goal at Southampton in the FA Cup, and basically it was a wide free kick, and I think somebody had left their leg dangling, and VAR took the line off that. That looked to me like both feet were level.
See, the difference between the domestic VAR and UEFA, as Fernandinho almost caught in possession, is that the UEFA officials are told to delay the flag. A yellow card has just been shown here. That was to Otamendi. But also they use 3D technology to sort out the offsides, whereas they don't here domestically. Anyway, Aguero's goal ruled out, so it's still 0-0. Free kick though to Chelsea.
I mean, De Bruyne has just gone running towards Ederson, telling him to calm down when he's rolled that one out to Fernandinho, and actually it's just a poor touch from Fernandinho. He's done the right thing. They roll the ball out to the midfielders all the time, and it's just a poor touch, and Ross Barkley was right onto him.
It was Fernandinho who was booked, not Otamendi. So the yellow card shown then to the Brazilian. Free kick to Chelsea. Central position, just over 10 yards further forward than the centre circle, as Chelsea play from right to left, approaching the hour mark. 5 live in the World Service. Luiz, the way that he's taken several steps back with real purpose, whether he's going to let one crack from long distance. I mean, we're looking.
He might as well. They've not had much joy or any reason to test Ederson. Give it a go.
It's at least 35 yards out. Luiz will run forward now, and he strikes it right-footed. That would be a conversion if they were playing in the Six Nations.
Yeah.
Off target, goalless.
I mean, I'm still really interested to get more clarity really on this VAR decision personally. As I said before, I definitely saw almost an identical one in the FA Cup when Southampton played against Derby, and it was somebody's foot just dangling outside of the line almost that kept everybody onside, and unless that was just a different angle or what, but it seemed that the feet were level.
Here is Sterling, slips it inside to David Silva. Rudiger comes across, firm challenge by Rudiger, out of play it goes for a throw. Still waiting for the deadlock to be broken at Wembley Stadium. Is over on that far side. Zinchenko takes the throw, goes a long way back into that Chelsea half for Sterling, and then Otamendi will switch it across towards Walker, the Manchester City right side, this near side as they play from left to right. Kompany then will switch play out to Sterling, backpedaling, heads it forward, interception from Pedro, Rudiger, Azpilicueta, and Rudiger eventually will clear the ball away, but only as far as Fernandinho, who had to go onto his tiptoes to help control that ball As it just kicked on, as he tried to head it, get to throw, he'll look to take it himself, and no, in fact he'll leave it to Zinchenko. More live football coming up for you over the next few days. We bring you on 5 Live, more Premier League commentaries than any other UK broadcaster. Tuesday, St James's Park, Newcastle United against in-form Burnley. And on Wednesday night, another big night in the Premier League. Chelsea, of course, Tottenham, Manchester City at home to West Ham, and Liverpool against Watford. But this is the League Cup final. We're still awaiting our first goal of the afternoon, where it's the 3rd consecutive season where the FA Cup holders have reached the League Cup final. Manchester United, when they won here in 2017. Arsenal last year were beaten, of course, by Manchester City. We wait to see how Chelsea will fare. At the minute, they continue to contain the champions of England, who are looking for back-to-back victories in this competition. Bernardo Silva runs forward. Chelsea supporters make themselves heard at Wembley. Bernardo Silva twists and turns one way. Still going Bernardo Silva. Now works over the cross. Rudiger attacks it inside the penalty area. Heads it out. Sterling. Back to Zinchenko. 61 minutes played.
He's so good, Bernardo Silva. He's so good on the ball. Takes a lot of touches, but he works people, he manoeuvres them. He's on the ball.
What would you make of David Silva so far?
He's been quiet.
He has been quiet.
For David Silva's standards, in this type of game, you'd expect the ball to be going to him or through him on a regular basis. And he is always usually the one that causes the issue in this type of situation when they are playing against a team who are very defensive, because he gets into pockets that defenders don't like going into and midfielders don't like dropping back into. Today we've not seen much of that at all. We've seen more of De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Aguero. I think if there is a change, that would be one that I can see happening. Obviously Gundogan would be one of the players that you'd expect to come into that, or even maybe Phil Foden after starring in the FA Cup a couple of weeks ago.
Scored his first goal for Manchester City in this competition at Oxford. That was in the first round where Manchester City came in. It was a 3-0 victory as Chelsea go down the other end of the field and get themselves a throw, attacking the end where the Chelsea fans are. It's on the left-hand side, this near side. Emerson, the left back, is going to take it about 10 yards up from the corner flag, and then he goes back to Luiz. Short ball forward towards Barkley. Luiz, though, now looks to try and find Eden Hazard with his back to goal, looking to try and turn left side of the penalty area. This is in the low ball. Otamendi quickly clears it out of play for a throw. And they're going to wait for Emerson to take it. Emerson to Barkley. Forced away from the penalty area. Back towards the centre circle in pursuit. And you can hear the groans of despair from the Chelsea supporters, as there they were in the final third, and then all of a sudden they go back towards their goalkeeper, Arrizabalaga. 63 minutes have been played. Still 0-0. Luiz rolls it down the line. Willian. Kyle Walker comes under pressure. Walker manages to find Bernardo Silva, and Kevin De Bruyne goes all the way back to Ederson in bright orange, garish orange, away towards our left-hand side. Vincent Kompany now came on at half-time for Laporte, at the heart of the Manchester City defence. And with the exception of that Aguero effort that was ruled out for offside, there is no sign, you would think, on the balance of play, of this stalemate ending, is there?
No, it's a tight
Deadlock.
game, and it really, in this situation, City really have to be careful, and I think they know that. As much as they're dominating and have possession of the game, they can get caught out very quickly.
De Bruyne curls it out towards Sterling. There've actually been more yellow cards in this game than there actually have shots.
Yeah, again, it's a lot of that is down to Chelsea playing a certain way, but the whole reason for Chelsea playing this way is to frustrate City, and they are doing that. And slowly, we're seeing a few mistakes creep into City's game. Balls going out of play. They've nearly been caught a couple of times now on the counter-attack. Those are all little positives, little wins for Chelsea and the players that are on the pitch, and they'll feel that. And it's about using that and picking that real moment to take one of those opportunities.
Kompany spreads play out towards the far side. Sterling gets the ball eventually out from underneath his feet to David Silva, and the cross from the left-hand side is caught by both hands by Ariza Balaga.
I'm surprised by how many crosses I've seen come into the box from City's point of view. I mean, you've got Aguero in the middle. Granted, he's actually good in the air for his size, but he's up against Rudiger, David Luiz, and the fullbacks tuck in really tight as well. A ball getting whipped into him, it's not one you'd expect him to go and win, really. I'm expecting to see more balls in between the fullbacks from City today.
Well, normally in this competition, if it wasn't the final, you'd go straight to a penalty shootout. That's what's happened this season after 90 minutes. For the final, we will have extra time, but if ever a game was destined to be settled by penalty shootouts, it's this one at the minute. Still 0-0. De Bruyne, Fernandinho lifts it into the penalty area. Cushion header forward by Emerson. Willian now looks towards Hazard. Hazard's well-timed run. Flag will stay down. Hazard now on the attack for Chelsea. Left-hand side. Skips past Kompany. Pulls the ball back just over the top by Kante, who arrived late, 7 yards out, left-footed just over the top of the crossbar. What a break that was by Chelsea.
Yeah, it's a brilliant counter-attack. All started by Willian, getting his head up, seeing the run from Hazard, who's done that all game. 65 minutes he's been making run in behind this City defence. He goes by Vincent Kompany like he's not even there, just looks at him and says, see you later, I'm going by you. Great cutback to Kante, who's running onto it at pace, just couldn't quite keep it on target, just goes over the bar.
Glided past Kompany, didn't he?
But that's exactly what I'm talking about though with Chelsea. They've had a few small wins and they're actually starting to feel a little bit better about themselves, and actually this plan is working. We can stick to this, we feel solid now, and we've actually got a lot of energy because we're not running all over the place either, trying to chase shadows. So they can break as much as they want. As long as Hazard keeps making those types of runs, the chances will come.
Well, they've been very inconsistent of late. The last 7, it's been hit and miss, win one, lose one. If that run was to continue, they're actually due to lose today with that, if it was to continue to alternate. However, that was a very good opportunity for N'Golo Kante. 67 minutes played. BBC Radio 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC as Manchester City come forward. Walker surges ahead of Kevin De Bruyne, who waits. De Bruyne back to Bernardo Silva. Again, Chelsea have every royal blue shirt back behind the ball. Their game plan is quite clear. They're going to frustrate Manchester City and then try and strike on the counter-attack, and as the ball is back with Raheem Sterling, City will go back, and we will go back to the voice of John Murray. He'll take you through to full-time.
It is not a thriller, but it is intriguingly poised. Bernardo Silva, lovely change of feet, left-footed ball up towards Aguero, but it's headed down and away by Azpilicueta. Comes out to Zinchenko, the left back. Now to Sterling on the left-hand side. Sterling uses David Silva, then out again to the far side. It goes, and Zinchenko via David Silva back towards the halfway line. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0 in the final quarter of the 90 minutes. Bernardo Silva to De Bruyne. De Bruyne's cross is rattled into the shins of David Luiz, and it bounces out of play for a throw on the right, down in front of us. That Bernardo Silva takes quickly, gets back from Walker. Bernardo Silva sets up Kyle Walker into the penalty area. Ball runs away from him. Kante makes the block, reaches Sterling on the far side of the penalty area. Sterling runs it out of the box, then Hazard comes in, and Hazard takes the ball away from Raheem Sterling, who's left on the ground. Hazard now running towards the halfway line, and Aguero comes across, and referee Moss says there was enough in that challenge from Aguero for a free kick to Chelsea near the halfway line. An excellent play from Hazard again.
Yeah, it's brilliant play from Hazard. I actually don't know how. I think it was Sterling who should have got a foul initially before that on the edge of the 18-yard box, but I think because he didn't really make a meal of it and kind of throw himself to the floor, he didn't quite get it. But Kante come flying after him and took him out. But Hazard has been disciplined. He's worked hard, making runs, and he's just given his team a little bit of a breather there by winning the free kick.
This is 5 Live from the BBC. The World Service are with us as well. This commentary going out all around the globe, and we are at Wembley Stadium with the floodlights on. 80,000 plus people inside watching a goalless draw as Pedro is fouled after Zinchenko came in with the challenge. Just a little foul. Free kick to Chelsea, and more frustration for Manchester City.
Well, on top of the frustration, you can't help but feel that John Mosh is starting to lean a little bit towards Chelsea. You know, they seem to be getting a lot more of the decisions. Even that one there, he waited on it, and then still gave it to them.
As David Pleat would say, I'm sure that's not the case. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Cross from the right-hand side from Pedro, right across field to Willian, who pulls it down in the right-back area. Willian now back towards Barkley, controls and curls it over the bar.
It's not a bad effort. He saw his name in lights for a second there, Ross Barkley. Picked it up on the left of the 18-yard box, opens it up onto his right foot. That right-hand side of the goal was just calling for him. He had to give it a go. Ended up curling it over the bar.
Listen, when you come and watch a showpiece occasion, and there's a careless pass.
There's another one
from David Silva.
There's another one.
It's all behind Zinchenko and out for a throw.
It's all it's knocking City out of their rhythm that they're usually in, and giving Chelsea more hope and more belief that, you know, it's not going City's way today. This might be our day.
Manchester City, who've scored 127 goals in all competitions. They've scored in every match they've played, right back to, I think it was December the 8th, when they played Chelsea. Chelsea were the last team to stop Manchester City from scoring in a match. It is 0-0. Here's the throw for Chelsea, but it's headed away on the edge of the box by Otamendi. Barkley now trying to battle his way through. Strong challenge comes in on him from Otamendi. And ball runs for Chelsea though, in the royal blue shirts and shorts, white socks. David Luiz now nearer the halfway line. And now Jorginho is caught in possession by Aguero. De Bruyne rides the challenge from Willian, and then Rudiger puts in the challenge, but the ball runs to David Silva. Rudiger again with a challenge just outside the box. That's a foul on David Silva, and it's a free kick. And all of the players are walking towards referee Moss. The Manchester City men are there. I mean, that could have been two fouls. It could have been two free kicks. Instead, he let it go.
I mean, from Rudiger's point of view, he had to make a challenge. You know, this ball was going wide and getting squared to Aguero in the box, and that was the goal. He knew that was the moment. He was 3 yards from the edge of the 18-yard box. One opportunity to bring down De Bruyne, who had gone. He'd already to bring down, I think it was David Silva originally, and then he brought down David Silva. At the end, it was mayhem to try and stop the counter attack, because they knew that was going to end in a goal in that particular minute.
Well, Silva was about to burst into the box. I suspect again the City players were questioning whether that might have been a red card.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
No, I agree.
I don't think it was, but I actually say, you know, what I was trying to get to is that I think Rudiger just, the decision he made, he was forced into it, and it was the right one. He had to take one for the team there.
Well, there's no Leroy Sané on the pitch after his brilliant free kick in Germany on Wednesday night, but I've seen Kevin De Bruyne hit some snorters from this sort of position. Left of centre, it is De Bruyne, right-footed over the wall, but high over the bar as well. Goal kick, 0-0.
Disappointing, very disappointing strike there from Kevin De Bruyne, but a chance, you know, City on the break.
What's Sarri going to do, Jermaine? Is he going to bring on Giroud? Is he going to bring on?
I don't think he can. I don't think he can. I think
not yet.
Well, basically, put it this way: things are going so well for them defensively, not from an offensive point of view, but there are things starting to happen that he can't change it. And if he was to bring on Giroud, who do you take off? Because you can't take off Hazard, who's been very good up top, and if he takes off one of his wide players and asks Hazard to do that job, you kind of lose that pace in behind.
Hazard has been terrific in this role.
Exactly.
You know, you see what a rounded player that he has matured into now. And okay, you know, he's best. We all like him much more on the left-hand side, but he's played the role today brilliantly.
Well, he's just called back Hudson-Odoi, so I think he'll be the. I think it'll be Pedro probably makes way.
He wasn't very well in the week, Pedro. He's actually been quite quiet, Pedro. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. 5 live in the World Service. 606, the phone in will follow with Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. 08085 909 693 to book your call. Here's Willian, who's tripped by Bernardo Silva for a kick to Chelsea, halfway inside their own half. Text 85058. Get in touch on social media at hashtag 606. The Leicester news this morning. Here's David Luiz, who is hitting one of those raking passes downfield Zinchenko gets up, wins the header. Kante nods it out to the right-hand side. Kante takes it out towards that touchline on the right, uses Azpilicueta. Azpilicueta's ball to Pedro, chests it down, volleys it across the 6-yard box. It bounces twice, and then Walker hoiks it away on his right foot, and it lands actually in the Chelsea half. And David Luiz comes across and heads it down to left back Emerson. Volley forward from David Luiz. Emerson gets involved. Barkley might have been blocked by Fernandinho. Hazard brilliantly rides the challenge from David Silva. Now plays it to the right hand side. It's played across by Pedro and then deflected behind by Zinchenko. It's so nearly opened up for Chelsea there.
He's got to shoot. He has to shoot there, Pedro. I think Hazard could even shoot as well. He's in a great position on the edge of the box. Yes, he's got Pedro to his right, and he feeds him in. I think once he takes a shot, takes a touch here, Pedro, he's got to hit this across goal. And at that point there, things are going to be coming off the goalkeeper, and you can pick up the pieces there. The square ball just wasn't quite on. Hazard causing havoc.
Superb again from Hazard. It is still Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. 15 minutes of the 90 to play, plus added time. Willian with a corner then, here it is, headed away by Kompany on the edge of the box in amongst a crowd of players, and then volleyed away, hoofed away, the Chelsea supporters suggest, by David Silva. However, De Bruyne then hits a high ball through the middle for Sterling to chase. That's headed away to David Silva. Now it's City who come forward. Bernardo Silva trying to trick his way through, and in the D, a couple of challenges come in on him, and the ball runs through to Kepa, who picks it up.
Kante, great tackle, brilliant. He's been everywhere again in the second half. I mean, he always is, but he particularly, I mean, he had the chance in the early part of the half. He won the ball, the second ball there that started that last attack. He's back there defending on the edge of his 18-yard box.
Substitutes about to be made. Juliet Farrington's on the touchline.
Yeah, Gundogan's going to come on for David Silva, and Hudson-Odoi is going to come on, and just let me, for Pedro. Pedro is the player that will be coming off, and Hudson-Odoi will be coming on.
Thanks, Juliet. 0-0. Chelsea with the ball on the right-hand side. Zinchenko puts in the challenge on Pedro, who's about to be withdrawn. De Bruyne plays it over the top for Aguero, but beyond Manchester City's top scorer, and Kepa will pass it out from the back. So Gundogan and Callum Hudson-Odoi, the 18-year-old who Bayern Munich wanted in January, and bearing in mind developments on Friday in the FIFA ruling, I would think that Chelsea are mightily thankful that they were able to keep a hold of Hudson-Odoi for the time being at least. Here's Jorginho.
The one thing I think Chelsea need to be worried about now is, I mean, they look confident. They look like they're getting on the ball now and trying to play a little bit more offensive, and in doing so, you can't help but feel that they'll go forward more and leave more gaps. So they've got to still find that balance. As confident as they seem as a team, popping it around now, having a lovely little spell of possession here, which they haven't had all game. You know, City will be thinking, well, if we nick it, you know, you've got a few players quite high up the pitch here, and we'll get in.
These are tense moments now.
They are.
This unprecedented quadruple that Manchester City are going for. Never mind the unprecedented domestic treble. This is in the balance here in these final 15 minutes. One Chelsea goal could kill it off. Willian fouled by Walker, just a little tap from behind with his foot, and we will see these changes now. So that's it for David Silva. Ilkay Gundogan, who started the match in Germany in midweek, will take his place. David Silva trots off the field, and as we heard from Juliet, it is Pedro who makes way. Straight switch, that, but no one's complaining about Sarri's straight switch here today for that one.
I don't think they can. You know, he's got his team into an unbelievable position. So therefore, you know, Hudson-Odoi coming on, you're looking at that going, well, listen to that, for starters, listen to that. They've looked dangerous on the counter-attack. They've got pace in Eden Hazard, and now this young lad's come onto the pitch, and he's got pace to burn as well. So plenty to worry about for Pep and his team, and you can't help but feel that this Chelsea team now are just starting to, like I said, get more confidence.
It is still 0-0, 5 live on the World Service. Well, just over 10 minutes to play. We would have extra time. This is the only tie in the whole competition now that can go to extra time, and then possibly penalties after that. Foul on Hazard, 5 yards inside the Manchester City half, just in front of where Maurizio Sarri is pacing around. It's not writing anything down at the moment. 60 years old, and this is his first major final as a coach. Never won a major trophy. Jorginho, high ball out towards the far side, looking for the newly arrived Hudson-Odoi. That's the 18-year-old Hudson-Odoi against the 22-year-old Zinchenko out there, and it's the Ukrainian who heads it out of play. Throw into Chelsea, halfway inside Manchester City territory. It's a little one that is steered back by Hudson-Odoi to Azpilicueta, and Chelsea will go all the way back into their own half. This possession that Chelsea are having now, just letting Manchester City think about things and think about where they are. David Luiz turns and plays it back to the edge of his own penalty area. Both teams looking to win this competition, the League Cup, in its various guises for the 6th time in their history. Manchester City, the holders, looking to successfully defend. Kepa puts his foot on the ball and passes it out to Emerson here. Emerson back towards David Luiz. Sergio Aguero closes him down, just trots forward. So David Luiz has to play it out to the right. It's missed by Rudiger. So Azpilicueta has to sprint back 15 yards and keep the ball in play. Rudiger passes it forward to Jorginho. Now he has Kante off and running over the halfway line. Kante to Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi now with a burst of pace into the penalty area, but he runs into the final challenge that is put in for Manchester City by Otamendi, and it is now Manchester City who play the ball away. Actually, it's a long pass from Otamendi, and that will just give possession back to Chelsea. They're having a good spell here, Jermaine.
Yeah, the tide's turned a little bit now. You know, I think Chelsea in sitting in have obviously managed to save a lot of energy, and City are just struggling to keep a hold of the ball, win the ball back. It's a good spell. It's been a good 15-20 minutes, I think, that, you know, Chelsea have had within this game, where they've had some joy, but they've earned it by all that hard work, which was pretty boring to watch, but it's got them into this position now where they'll feel they've got a chance of winning.
Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Barclay's pass was behind Emerson. De Bruyne was challenged though by Jorginho. That was a crucial challenge, otherwise De Bruyne could have had a clear run to the edge of the penalty area. And now Manchester City come again. Ball just outside the box with Gundogan, who scored one of the goals in the 6-0 a fortnight ago. This 2 weeks later, exactly 2 weeks later, has been a very different affair. City having to drop back because Chelsea bring it forward from inside their defensive third. Azpilicueta back across towards Rudiger, and then back it goes again towards Kepa. The game plan, the Sarri game plan in this match has worked pretty well to now. They've restricted Manchester City. They've created some decent chances of their own. Kante lifts the ball and it strikes the arm of Sterling, and that's a free kick for handball inside the centre circle. Pep Guardiola in his grey jumper turns and walks back here to have a chat with Mikel Arteta just over the advertising hoardings. They've got some questions being posed of them here by this Chelsea team. Azpilicueta to the right hand side. Here's Hudson-Odoi. Kante's gone on a run down the right hand side, and Otamendi slides in and puts it out of play over the hoardings.
Kante's having one of those games where you just think, how do you do it? How are you absolutely everywhere on this pitch?
Chelsea play it back into their own half. This Chelsea team has won 15 major trophies under Abramovich in the almost 16 years that he's been the owner of the club. Brilliant run of success, more success than any other of the English clubs over that period of time across all domestic football. Throw in for Chelsea further up the right. We're going to see Leroy Sané coming on very shortly. That will be the third and final change that City can make in regulation time. Throw-in taken for Chelsea down next to the corner flag. Zinchenko loses out, and then it's run out of play by Hazard. A rare heavy touch from Eden Hazard, and it's a throw-in to Manchester City in their own left-back position. So Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton standing by to take your calls on 08085 909 693. They'll want to hear from Leicester City fans. They'll want to hear from Manchester United and Liverpool fans after their 0-0 draw. Arsenal 2-0 winners over Southampton in the other early kick-off in the Premier League. Rangers and Celtic big winners today. And if you missed it, in the Six Nations today, Ireland won 26-16 in Rome against Italy. Just waiting for Sané to come onto the field. Or Chelsea actually take the throw. He won't be coming on just yet. And in our featured game in the Super League, finished Wigan 22, Hull FC 23. Sané is just receiving instructions from Pep Guardiola. Still pointing out onto the field the Manchester City manager. His brilliant record of trophy winning Guardiola in stark contrast to the trophy-less Sarri. Fernandinho hits a long pass downfield, but that'll just run harmlessly away through over the goal line for a goal kick, and it does feel as though it is just fizzling away towards extra time.
It'll be interesting to see who comes off here. It's De Bruyne.
Surprise?
I thought he might do something like that. Yeah, I mean, yes, in terms of, I suppose, penalties, set pieces, but he's brought Raheem Sterling over to this side, and Leroy Sané will go over up against Azpilicueta.
And Leroy Sané takes his position over on the far side. Obviously Bernardo Silva now takes up a role in central midfield. 0-0, 5 minutes to go. It was around about this time on Wednesday when we watched Leroy Sané come on and hit that fantastic free kick. It was quite outstanding, wasn't it, Sané's goal on Wednesday night?
It was unreal. I mean, he's hit a couple like that already this year. Even, I think when he played, didn't he, against Newport, and he hit one against Newport, which the keeper had to make a number. I think he hits a post, tips onto the post, didn't he?
Right. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Sané still waiting for his first touch. He gets it now from Gundogan, who passes it to Sané, who's challenged, and the ball runs out of play. That is given as a Chelsea throw. Not sure City were convinced about that.
I have to say, honestly, I think John Moss has given them absolutely everything today. It's been...
I told you, Jimmy, you can't say that.
Well, I've been in that situation, and I'm just talking about the ebb and flow of that feeling on the pitch, and as a player...
You can say it, I'm sure it's a coincidence.
I haven't got to say that.
No. Free kick, another challenge on Hudson-Odoi by Zinchenko. That's the second little foul from Zinchenko on Hudson-Odoi, who's very aware of what the Chelsea teenager might be able to do.
Yeah, I think John Moss is going to have a quick word with him, just to say, look, that's enough. It's already touched him, in fairness.
Free kick then. Now, Sarri might be thinking if only Giroud was on the pitch here, because it's a free kick out on the right hand side. Willian to take this. David Luiz has gone up, and David Luiz taking up a position right on the far side of the penalty area with Rudiger from where the free kick will be taken. Willian hits it long. It's headed by Azpilicueta actually up into the box. Rudiger goes down. Vincent Kompany with a challenge. Glanced header by Azpilicueta. Barkley's trying to win it in the D. It's worked out to Hudson-Odoi on the right hand side. Hudson-Odoi's ball across, takes a deflection. David Luiz hits the shot. That's cleared away by Kompany on the edge of the 6-yard box. Real panicky moments for Manchester City. Chelsea putting them under pressure here, and lovely interplay on the edge of the box now by Chelsea. Kante involved, couldn't work it through into the penalty area for Hazard, and now City breakaway. Sterling is blocked, blatantly blocked by Jorginho, and he would have been clearing away. It happened just to the left of the midway point of the half, so he had a long way to go, and it's a yellow card for Jorginho.
Second block of the game from Jorginho. Makes you think, should he have been booked for the first one? That happened about 2 seconds into the game, 'cause it's almost identical really. Raheem Sterling running at him, he didn't want anything to do with it. He was definitely taking him out at all costs. The yellow card's the right decision.
If Sterling had been able to go past Jorginho there, that could have been serious problems for Chelsea.
Yeah, but I would say there were defenders recovering as well. So
here he comes, Jermaine.
Yeah.
Olivier Giroud.
No.
It's Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek coming on, and he takes the place of Barkley. So
I thought that was going to be a bit of a risk. I thought, well, he's really going for it here, because that would have been a complete formation change.
Particularly at this stage of the game.
You don't tend to do that too much.
No, you don't.
Played well, Ross Barkley, by the way. I think it's worth mentioning. Got a good second half.
Free kick then after that foul on Sterling. It's played in by Gundogan, stretching a header away by Jorginho, unchallenged. Ball bounces out towards the far side. We are in the 90th minute. City with a ball on the left. Gundogan looked to cross it. It's blocked off Jorginho. There are shouts there that might have been an arm that was used by Jorginho in the full-back position, and it's deflected behind. It is only a corner. Corner for Manchester City. 90th minute. It's 0-0 in the 2019 Carabao Cup final here at Wembley. Here is the delivery from Gundogan, comes off the head of Loftus-Cheek. Sané on the edge of the box, completely kicks it. Hits it straight at Loftus-Cheek, who's able to clear it away to the halfway line. Hazard is beaten in the air by Zinchenko. And now Gundogan turns and plays it back into the centre circle. Very shortly we'll see Paul Tierney lifting his electronic board. Extra time just seconds away, really. Gundogan playing it to Sterling now, who's appeared on the right-hand side. Sterling turns against Loftus-Cheek. Now he's up against Emerson, tried to play it past the left back, but Emerson did well, the Brazilian-born Italian international, and it's out of play for a throw into Manchester City, and it's 4 minutes of added time. A green number 4 on that board. 4 minutes to play, then it'll be extra time, then the possibility of penalties. Burkle, the ball curled forward to the edge of the penalty area, but Kepa is able to come out and claim it in front of his face. 0-0. Little ball out towards David Luiz. Emerson, Loftus-Cheek, Willian, that's nice. Very nice. Loftus-Cheek takes it away from Kompany, who went to ground. Important cover from Walker, took it away from Loftus-Cheek, but now Willian takes it on, and then Hazard is challenged by Otamendi, who slides in, catches the man, down goes Hazard. Yellow card for Otamendi.
I don't know what goes through Otamendi's head sometimes. I mean, he got sent off best part of 4 or 5 days ago for just flying in and just a reckless challenge, and he's just done exactly the same thing today. He was never going to win that ball. He's given away a free kick with 3 minutes left in the game in a dangerous area. Just stand up, and in the process he might have pulled his hamstring as well, by the way.
Otamendi, and just keep an eye on that. Free kick then in the full-back position, 7 or 8 yards away from the corner flag on the left-hand side, the Chelsea left. Willian's going to take this. Willian, Sterling, a one-man wall. The angle is very tight, but Willian can whip these. We've seen that from this sort of angle. Manchester City packing their own 6-yard box. It's a crowded 6-yard area. John Moss just walking into their turns and runs away to the edge of the penalty area. 1 goal now would almost certainly win it, and Chelsea have the free kick, and Willian takes it in, and the goalkeeper Ederson stretched high, got a touch to it, and made sure that it did go over the crossbar. It's a corner from the far side for Chelsea. This is going to be taken by Hudson-Odoi. In fact, he's leaving it for Willian, who has trotted all the way across from the left-hand side. So Willian with this corner for Chelsea in added time towards the near post. Comes off a Manchester City head, hanging inside the box. Kompany then gets up and he's able to head it away, and the ball is volleyed halfway up the lower tier.
It's a good decision
by Emerson.
It was a good decision. He was under pressure, Ederson, and you lose that ball in that situation there. That's the type of thing that can cost you the game. Get it out, regroup, get back into shape, get into extra time, and see what you can do then.
Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. So it looks as though 6:06, the phone in with Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. You might have to wait for it, but all good things are worth waiting for. Long ball through the middle. Rudiger gets a touch back towards his goalkeeper. Kepa controls and plays it. What a lovely piece of skill from Loftus-Cheek to turn and take it away from Walker, and he then passes it through for Hazard, who is flagged offside. What a shame.
I'm sure they're not supposed to do that with his VAR linesman. I thought it was let it play out.
It is let it play out in the UEFA system.
It's very close. This is not as open as you think it is.
Yeah,
that is close.
Yeah. The UEFA recommendation for the Champions League is for the referees and the assistants to wait with the flag, but that's not the case in our domestic use of it.
Maybe they should, because he's in on goal in the last minute, and if you're going to use VAR, that should be, let that play out and see what happens.
And actually, going back to when Aguero put the ball in the net, that decision was absolutely borderline.
You could see where I was coming from with what I said. I mean, their feet look completely level to me, and we're going to have another look at great bit of skill here from Loftus-Cheek. I mean, he probably would have been called offside by the looks of it. I think he's just leaning offside. Yeah. It's a great call from the linesman, and actually a good indication as to, I think our linesmen do a good job with regards to calling offsides, and maybe that side of it should be left alone. It looks like City are about to lose Fernandinho though.
Yeah, Fernandinho, who is really struggling here. And remember, you can use an extra substitute in extra time. And we're only a matter of seconds away from that now. But to lose Fernandinho, big. One of the most important players in this Manchester City team.
And you know, who comes in? You know, does he kind of think, well, I'll put the youngster in there and go with Phil Foden? I'd love to see him do that personally, but then have I got enough structure and, you know, defensive now? So I can see Danilo going in there personally.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
But you could play it with Gundogan in the middle and Bernardo Silva and Foden either side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd prefer to see that. I think Phil Foden could have an impact on this game if he was brought on, going by players. And
listen, it would be very Pep Guardiola for it to be Foden.
Yeah,
you know, Fernandinho has come off the field, so Manchester City are playing the remainder of the
seconds
with 10 men. 0-0. Walker with the throw. Walker takes it back towards Bernardo Silva. Incidentally, when Hazard was offsided there, I said, what a shame, because the skill that Loftus-Cheek produced there was fantastic.
Beautiful it was, you're right.
There it is. There is the whistle. That's the end of the 90 minutes, and this is a cup final that is still yet to produce a goal. So on they come, all of the backroom staff, Maurizio Sarri, Pep Guardiola. They will conduct operations out on the pitch in the way that we see so often. It's so familiar to us now, and the players now looking for the water bottles, etc, etc. But I would say, Jermaine, job well done so far by Chelsea. I know it's not to everyone's taste,
no,
but 2 weeks after they lost 6-0, I think this is a success so far for Chelsea.
It has to be. And you know, people have been calling, Chelsea fans particularly have been calling for a change, you know, find a better system to win football matches. They've come up against the best footballing side in England today and limited them to absolutely zero chances through hard work, organisation and a way of playing, and gradually they started to tilt the balance of the fixture into their favour. And you know, the way that it is sat right now, Fernandinho going off, the pace that they have up front in Hudson-Odoi and Hazard and Willian, you can't help but feel that Chelsea might just win this one.
Yep, need to keep an eye and see who Manchester City are going to bring on as their fourth substitute. But it is Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0, and extra time is on the way.
So one Brazilian for another as the first period of extra time is underway. 5 Live and the World Service. We're awaiting the first goal in the 2019 League Cup final between Chelsea and Manchester City. And before today, the last final to go to extra time was 3 years ago, Manchester City against Liverpool, which ultimately went to a shootout, and City won by 3-1. The man who saved 3 penalties that day is on the Chelsea bench, Caballero. But as John quite rightly says, in extra time, Manchester City, who've used their 3 substitutions in the normal regulation 90 minutes, will be permitted 1 more substitution. You are allowed an additional sub, and that is Danilo, who has come on. So they used company, Gundogan, Sane and Danilo, which was the reason why they had to wait for the start of extra time and finishing that 90 minutes with the 10 men. So Manchester City playing in their sky blue shirts and white shorts from right to left, with Zinchenko forward now to Bernardo Silva. Sane tries to weave his way through, and Rudiger will tidy up back to Arrizabalaga. So Ederson in goal for Manchester City, a back 4 of Walker, Otamendi, Kompany and Zinchenko, a midfield of Gundogan, Danilo and Sane, Sterling, Aguero and Bernardo Silva. For Chelsea, in their royal blue shirts and shorts, they have Arrizabalaga in goal, Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Luiz and Emerson in defence, Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho and Kante in the midfield, Hudson-Odoi, Hazard and Willian. Danilo will prod the ball back. And it's almost as if we're starting again now, because the game finished with a bit of a flourish, didn't it? And the tempo has dropped. It's gone back to being a little bit more cautious.
Well, yeah, I think that happens obviously because they felt, Chelsea, that they were on the rise, they were on the up. They could feel almost City on the ropes a little bit. Their counter-attack was working, defensively things were working. And now, like you said, they're just sat right back into that rhythm. City on the ball, having a lot of touches, and Chelsea camping in.
Here is Gundogan, clips it inside. Zinchenko falling backwards, plays the ball forward. Bernardo Silva out towards the left touchline. Sane on his toes, running forward, edge of the penalty area. Gundogan back out to Zinchenko, the left back, joining the attack. Manchester City, who failed to score twice in 43 fixtures this season. Liverpool and Chelsea drawing another blank, unable to add for what would be a half-century of goals in 2019 to add to that tally of 127 as Gundogan screws an effort wide, well wide, goal kick, still 0-0 here at Wembley. But in that second half, Chelsea had the better of the chances, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I mean, I wouldn't say they were clear-cut chances. I think the one from Kante was particularly hard, as we see Higuain seems to be stripping off and getting himself ready to come on now. But they did have the better of the chances. Hazard making unbelievable runs time after time, and City limited to almost none, really. But it only takes one, Deno. It only takes one time for somebody to switch off, or one moment of brilliance from an individual that just gave Gundogan too much time there on the edge of the box, and he's good from that range usually. Skied that one over this time.
Higuain is going to be coming on for Chelsea. He's failed to score in his last 8 final appearances. He's only won 2 of those 8, whether it be the Coppa America, the Coppa Italia, or the Champions League. So he'll be looking to try and change that statistic.
That could change things as well, not the stats, but the state of play. Because I imagine it'll be for Willian, and Hazard will go out to that left-hand side, and Higuain will go through the middle. And in doing so, it gives Kyle Walker a bit of a situation. Does he go forward as much? Because on that side, if Kyle Walker's not there, it's Vincent Kompany covering, and we've already seen what he's done to Vincent Kompany in a short space.
It's certainly intriguingly poised here at Wembley. Ball played forward, Bernardo Silva, but Rudiger with Sane, fellow German, breathing down his neck. Back to Arrizabalaga, decks out all in bright green, away to our left-hand side, plays it up towards the halfway line. Hudson-Odoi falls as he challenges Zinchenko, and the referee's assistant will say that'll be a Chelsea throw. And now, as Jermaine Jean has quite rightly predicted, Willian is the player to make way. So Higuain will go through the middle, Hudson-Odoi down the right, Hazard already walking across to the left, and we know he likes to revel in that role on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I mean, it's I like the move from Sarri. I do. I think we're at that stage now where his team have played well. It's time to go for it. Is Hazard going to defend as well as Willian did? We don't know. Emerson might find himself in more 1v1 situations, but Hazard will defend in a way of, I'm going to play on the front, and you're going to have to deal with me.
Still 0-0. Emerson runs into a brick wall, loses the ball. Little flick there by Danilo, didn't quite come off, and Chelsea try and win it back. Headed away by Kyle Walker. Little touch by Bernardo Silva. Kante though gets there before Gundogan. Chelsea are on the attack. Hudson-Odoi still being courted and very much wanted by Bayern Munich. Drifts into a central area and passes the ball to Hazard, and Chelsea now are on the attack and looking threatening, and then Hazard plays the ball towards Loftus-Cheek, and it's seen out by Danilo and out of play for a goal kick. You wouldn't want to call it, really, would you?
No, look, it's so tense and so tight. I've been in this scenario twice myself, and your legs start to get heavy, your mind starts to get heavy. You've got to stay switched on, and part of you's thinking, do we go for it? Do we kind of sit and wait for penalties? And I suppose on the occasion where we sat and waited for penalties, it didn't work out well for us. So I think Chelsea would never have a better opportunity to go and beat City, really. And I feel like it is there for them to do something. But as you said, they have to be careful.
Still 0-0, and we're almost midway through the first period of extra time as Aguero just can't get away from Rudiger. Dived into the challenge, brought away now by Luiz over on that far side as Chelsea play from left to right up towards Hudson-Odoi. Attacked in the air though by Zinchenko. That ball will go midway through the Chelsea half, and it's off the left foot, and it's clattered away downfield by Azpilicueta. Towering header won by Kompany. Kante though wins that duel in the midfield against Sterling. Higuain running back into the centre circle, wins the 50-50 against Bernardo Silva, and now will come forward for Chelsea. Higuain still going, referee's played the advantage, out to Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi now into the penalty area. Hudson-Odoi looks to go on the outside, but Zinchenko stood up to him, made the challenge, out of play, it rolls for a corner kick.
Yeah, well done, Zinchenko. His legs will be burning him. He's having a little bit of a celebration there with his goalkeeper. I think Hudson-Odoi running at you at full pace. He had to concentrate, time the tackle to perfection, and he did just that.
Midway through this first period, still 0-0. Hazard then to take the corner kick, right hand side, right footed. Walker with the header away, picked up by Emerson on that far side, put back into the penalty area. Bounces away from 4 Manchester City players. Hudson-Odoi to Hazard, right corner of the box, infield. Luiz clips the ball back in. Hazard across the face of goal, and diving on that ball, bright in orange, is Ederson.
He should do better, I think, Hazard there. It's a lovely ball from David Luiz, and he just didn't get the angle on it. He just volleyed it almost down in the ground, straight towards Ederson. Now City on the attack.
And it's Aguero, right hand side, sky blue shirts, infield. Sane, back out to Walker, high up the pitch, the right back, almost level the penalty area. Doesn't get the 1-2 back from Sane. Manchester City go back, now in field. Danilo, Zinchenko joins the attack to the left of him. Ball forward, Bernardo Silva, side onto goal, turns, works over the cross, deep into the penalty area. Headed away by Emerson. Nice little touch by Hazard. Gets the return ball from Loftus-Cheek. And it's certainly evenly poised in this League Cup final here at Wembley Stadium, as Jorginho now will come forward. Manages to knock it out towards Eden Hazard. Pulled back there by Sergio Aguero, and referee John Moss will give the free kick. Chelsea take it quickly. 6 minutes to go before we have a break in extra time, and it's still 0-0. Jorginho, 360-degree turn just outside the centre circle of his own half. Rudiger plays it forward. The diminutive Kante, though, stopped by Gundogan, rolls out of play. Animated as ever, Guardiola. Maurizio Sarri just to his left as well. Just has a little glance at his watch on his left wrist as he paces back towards his bench in between the advertising hoardings. Come on City is the cry from the Manchester City fans away to our right hand side. Gundogan strikes it long. Zinchenko controls the ball. 2 touches off the left foot. Infield, Sterling looking towards Bernardo Silva, drags it back, plays it back to the left corner of the area. Sterling now for Manchester City. Sterling waits. Zinchenko, first time cross, strikes the shoulder of Kante as he turned, or partially turned, to block that. Zinchenko back towards Gundogan. City are driving forward now. Gundogan floats it forward. Sane waits. Sane's header won't drop towards Aguero. Headed away by Luiz. And now it's brought forward by Eden Hazard, who looks up and spreads play out towards Hudson-Odoi. And Chelsea are on the attack over the halfway line. Hudson-Odoi goes infield. There is a fluency when Chelsea come forward. You've got Hudson-Odoi on the right. Centrally at the minute is Hazard. Higuain plays it out now towards Hudson-Odoi. Zinchenko just backpedals. Sterling's come back to help out. Hazard makes the diagonal run into the penalty area. Drifts back out. Hudson-Odoi 10 yards up from the byline on this right hand side, and it's still goalless. Higuain. Kante just inside the area. First time shot, always arcing its way from goal from Jorginho's right-footed effort. 4 minutes to the end of the first period of extra time on 5 Live, 0-0.
And it's finally opening up this game. Chelsea playing with a lot of confidence. Players that have come onto the pitch have made a difference. Loftus-Cheek's been very good, very clean with his touches and nicking balls around the corner. Hudson-Odoi looks dangerous. Higuain also looking dangerous already, but you also feel that there's spaces now all over the place. I feel like City will find more spaces than they did also. So, you know, this second half of extra time and the rest of this half, I think we're in for a good game.
Only 4 times in the history of the League Cup has the final been settled by a penalty shootout, but that is becoming an ever-increasing possibility here at Wembley, as it's still 0-0. Luiz just over the halfway line. Hazard, diagonal ball along the ground, laid off then by Higuain. Luiz plays it forward, and Chelsea move with Loftus-Cheek. Behind him is Hazard. Hazard looks up, Kante central area, midway through the Manchester City half. They're playing with a lot more ambition now. I mean, Azpilicueta was reluctant to get forward at times earlier in the game, not so on this occasion. Joining Hudson-Odoi on the right-hand side. Hazard with his back to goal, looking to turn, 25 yards out, and will shoot off his left foot, always on the rise, out for a goal kick, 0-0.
Don't mind that. That's a couple of occasions now they've gone forward, something's happened, someone's had a shot, a cross has come in. They're working Manchester City.
You could say in the first half they played with a handbrake on. The shackles are off Chelsea now.
They are, and I don't blame him for playing with a handbrake on. They'd been knocked down in the first round at the Etihad. They were nervous. They were scared about what could happen again. And in fairness to Sarri, he protected his team this time. He protected them and got the game to a point where he could let them loose, which is what he's doing now.
His first competitive match was here against Manchester City in the Community Shield. Had they suffered another drubbing, it might well have been his last competitive match in charge of Chelsea. The pressure would certainly have been increased, a manager under scrutiny. However, his Chelsea side being backed by their supporters, that's the noise you can hear in the background. Still 0-0 with Manchester City. Luiz over on that far side, back to Arrizabalaga. Arrizabalaga then across to Luiz, who will bring the ball forward for Chelsea. Strikes it long, right-footed, offside. Higuain was triggering the flag as he made his run over on that left touchline, and we're approaching just over 60 seconds before we have half-time in extra time. Chip forward by Gundogan. Zinchenko unable to get forward because Hudson-Odoi was stopping the run, so he has to go back. Otamendi to Kompany. Right of the centre circle, short and square. Back to the centre circle for Otamendi. Kompany now will come forward. Switch his play with a quite flat diagonal ball across to Zinchenko. Back in field, Gundogan gets it back from Danilo. Gundogan has Kante in front of him. Kompany, and now they work it across towards that far side, the right. Sterling. Forward to Bernardo Silva, level with the penalty area. Back to the England international who's had such a fine season. Kyle Walker and Sterling exchange passes. Every outfield player in the Chelsea half away towards our left-hand side. Otamendi just on the edge of the centre circle to Zinchenko. Chelsea are dropping off. Scoop forward by Zinchenko, looking for the run of Sane. Cushion header by Luiz. Stab forward by Azpilicueta. Hudson-Odoi under pressure, goes back, in front of his own byline is Rudiger, goes square back into the penalty area, in his 6-yard area Luiz, runs in front of his own goalkeeper all in green, back with Luiz once again, City will press, what a time for Luiz to make a mistake, he sweeps it across to Azpilicueta and there is no added on time, as the arms roll off by Maurizio Sarri. The first 15 minutes of extra time are over and we are still locked at Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Mark Pugac.
Pep Guardiola just marching off the field, 15 minutes away from a penalty shootout. Manchester City, their supporters to our right, all twirling their sky blue flags with the white Manchester City badge on them. The Chelsea fans to our left, those who were given the blue and white scarves, are twirling them above their heads. Still waiting for the opening goal. It's been a very tactical game. Maurizio Sarri just sitting on his seat at the moment in the dugout, just begins to move forward now to take his position on the edge of the coaching area, and Manchester City have the ball inside their own half as they play from left to right in this second period of extra time. BBC 5 Live and the BBC World Service. And we are watching Vincent Kompany, who scored in the 3-0 win against Arsenal in last year's final, when Arsenal really were far too open and Manchester City won easily, if you remember. Arsenal completely outplayed. Chelsea just simply have not allowed that to happen to them today.
No.
Higuain just patrolling the edge of the penalty area, but Kompany goes back to Ederson, who passes it out. And now here's Gundogan. Gundogan, who has Danilo to his right, the substitute, but he goes to his left to Otamendi. Zinchenko then back into his own half, and City just keeping possession inside their own territory.
You know what, John, they've got a problem though. I mean, they don't seem to be able to create today. They've brought Leroy Sane onto the pitch and he's not even had a kick. He's literally not had a kick. They've not got him into any situation where he can have a 1v1. They've got to find a way to get him the ball.
Little pass from Danilo goes astray. It was behind Walker. It's out of play. Manchester City had that tough game in Germany on Wednesday night that went right to the end. Mind you, Chelsea played on Monday night and then played on Thursday night, admittedly making changes. Ball's out for a throw into Chelsea halfway inside their own half. Both will play in the Premier League this coming midweek. You will hear the Chelsea-Tottenham match, part of our coverage, on Wednesday night. And Manchester City, now having seen Liverpool move above them by 1 point at the top of the table, Manchester City are at home to West Ham on Wednesday. Commentary and coverage Tuesday and Wednesday night on 5 Live from the Premier League. But this is the Carabao Cup final here at Wembley, and Bernardo Silva has the ball back, gives it to Zinchenko. Back it comes more centrally to Leroy Sané. Aguero comes deep. Aguero scored 5 goals against Chelsea this season. Now to the left hand side, Zinchenko with the cross. It's deflected behind off the outstretched leg of Azpilicueta. A corner to City from the left.
Been really impressed with Zinchenko, considering he was nearly loaned out to Wolves, or even sold to Wolves at the start of the season. He's put in a really good few displays for City over the last month or so in that left back position, and he's impressed again today.
Gundogan to take the corner. Aguero on the edge of the 6-yard box. Danilo near the penalty spot. Company makes the run. Here's the delivery. Oh, Gundogan's overcooked that. He's overheaded beyond everyone inside the penalty area, and it bounces out of play harmlessly for a throw-in to Chelsea in their own left back area. Emerson in no hurry to take this. Already 3 minutes played of the second period of extra time. Loftus-Cheek wins a throw-in off Danilo, who claims it is his, and actually assistant Andy Halliday says it is a Manchester City throw. Obviously before it hit Danilo it was over the line, a little bit like the Burnley-Tottenham corner of yesterday.
Move on.
There's Company, gives it to Gundogan, then back to Company, just stretches over the halfway line, passes a little ball to Danilo, who goes back into his own half. I feel slightly disappointed that we didn't see Foden.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I mean, I can understand where Pep Guardiola was coming from.
Completely.
I mean, the amount of attackers he does have on the pitch, but I can't help but feel that Phil Foden, he's just something different. He goes by people.
Here's Sterling now, he's another one like that on the right hand side, takes on Emerson, goes past him into the penalty area, tried to cut it back, it hit Luiz, then Sterling to Aguero. Sterling looked as though he was in an offside position there, and then the shot is driven in by Danilo. It takes a deflection and lands on the roof of the net off a Chelsea leg for a corner.
He's got to be offside, surely.
Surely had to be.
He has to be offside there, Sterling. I mean, initially he wasn't when he goes by Emerson on this left hand side, but when it gets cut back, and I think Aguero has a strike, he goes by Emerson with ease on the right hand side. He's on the touchline, he cuts it back. When Aguero strikes that ball there, Sterling's offside.
Or did the goalkeeper get a hand to it ahead of Sterling? Perhaps he did.
Well, if he did, I'm not sure the officials are ever going to see that.
Well, and actually, Kepa is down. And remember, he had a hamstring problem, the Chelsea goalkeeper, coming into this, and he's sitting down, his feet are on the pitch, and he's actually sitting over the line in the goal.
Isn't Caballero a bit of a penalty specialist as well?
He is. Well remembered. They can make one further change, Chelsea, in extra time. He actually made the saves in extra time for Manchester City when they won this trophy in the final in 2016.
It's like it's meant to be, eh?
Well, Kepa's not finished yet, but he's receiving treatment. The medical people are on there, and it will be a corner to Manchester City when play restarts. Got less than 10 minutes of the second period of extra time to play.
That was the first time, though, John, that either Raheem Sterling, Bernardo Silva, Leroy Sané has managed to get around their fullbacks. When you consider what happened at the Etihad the other day, and the amount of times we saw that was the first time. And it was, he did well not to stick out a leg, because it could have been a penalty.
It was a real scramble. Kepa's okay. Corner to be taken. Gundogan headed away by Azpilicueta on the edge of the 6-yard box. Comes out to Zinchenko, 30 yards out. Zinchenko lifts a pass over the top, looking for Sané. The back pedalling defender has headed it away though for Chelsea. It was Emerson who was back in there, and Kante will now play it forward to Hudson-Odoi. Kante's available, but Hudson-Odoi, John Moss has fallen over in the centre circle. That was a real comedy fall, wasn't it? He absolutely went head over heels. Here's Hazard on the left-hand side, and then Higuain falls over. Not quite so funny, and it's then turned back by Kompany to his goalkeeper.
It was a bit more gracious, that fall from Higuain, wasn't it?
It was the fall of a sportsman.
Yeah.
Here's Gundogan. Turns the ball back out towards the left-hand side. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Is Kepa okay?
Looks okay.
Remember Louis van Gaal changing his goalkeepers? That was Kim Krul, wasn't it?
And it worked.
Yeah. Who's the
must be a nightmare that for a goalkeeper.
Yes.
Imagine how fuming you are to get dragged as it goes to penalties and it actually works.
Yes, I know. And you have to grit your teeth.
Oh, and
say, what a good move by the manager. I think it was Sillison. I think it was Sillison who came off and Krul came on. Yeah. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Jermaine Genius with us. 5 Live in the World Service from the BBC. Zinchenko back into the centre circle to Gundogan. Now to Walker. Chelsea content to let City have possession, and then a long diagonal crossfield pass from Walker is headed down and away by Azpilicueta, who will pass it back to Kepa, who seems okay, takes a touch with his left foot, passes it with his right out of the penalty area. A lone white flag is waved on the right hand side. It's got the Manchester City badge in the middle of it. Here is Loftus-Cheek now on the left hand side. Loftus-Cheek has Hazard to his left. Little ballers, 2 Manchester City players arrive on the scene. Hazard is there, ball stationary, plays it to Jorginho near the left corner of the Manchester City box as Chelsea play. Hazard then, little scoop to Jorginho. Kante will work the ball to the right hand side. Azpilicueta with a touch, and then the delivery from Azpilicueta, and he can put in a great ball from those sort of positions, but he overhit this one beyond the run of Loftus-Cheek, and it's a goal kick, and it's still 0-0.
A bit of a tired cross, not time from Azpilicueta. They worked it well on his left hand side, but the delivery just wasn't there. I have to say, I think, if we were to give out Man of the Match awards, N'Golo Kante's been the best player on the park for me today. I think he's been absolutely sensational. Been some decent displays.
Hazard would be in the
Hazard would be in there, but I think the work that Kante has got through with the quality along with it, it's been unreal.
And also, we talk about whether Foden came on or whether Danilo came on. In the context of what has been quite a pragmatic game, it's probably the right call for Danilo in a match like this.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just it sat so much in the balance that one wrong call offensively, whether that be kind of taking a risk, dribbling with the ball, or you just needed that balance, City, and it was the call of a manager that's been there, seen it and done it all.
Loftus-Cheek dances between Bernardo Silva and Danilo, and then plays the ball out towards the right hand side, and Hudson-Odoi is now running at the Manchester City defence. He's into the box. Sané puts in the challenge, gets the ball as well, had to as well, on the corner of the penalty area. It bounces out to Zinchenko, who's able to turn and clear it away to the halfway line. Rudiger takes it down. Got 5 minutes to play plus added time, then it would be penalties. And there's a heavy touch from Kante, straight out of play for a Manchester City throw. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Lines are open on 5 Live for 606 with Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. 08085 909 693 for the phone in. The next instalment of Sutton Death, 85058 to send a text. Get in touch, hashtag 606. And the Premier League highlights are on BBC One tonight. The 0-0 draw between Manchester United and Liverpool. Arsenal's 2-0 win against Southampton. 10:30, BBC One Match of the Day 2. But here, into the last 5 minutes of extra time. Pass forward from Otamendi, headed down by Rudiger. And now it's back centrally to Jorginho, who goes for a long pass downfield, but that's beyond Hazard and skips off the surface through to Ederson, who takes it into his chest and then very casually flings it out underarm to the bearded German international Gundogan. And now Danilo is able just to return it to Vincent Kompany in central defence. Kompany then to Gundogan. It looks as though the destiny of this possible quadruple, the possible domestic treble, might rest on a penalty shootout here at Wembley. Bernardo Silva in towards Sterling centrally, but the other number 7, Kante, comes across. The ball bounces above the two little men, Kante and Sterling. Chelsea are able to clear it. Here's Eden Hazard, left-hand side. Bernardo Silva is able to get back in front of Eden Hazard. Hazard now away from Bernardo Silva, might have been tugged back, keeps his feet. Hazard then flicks a pass imperiously to the right-hand side to Hudson-Odoi. And now the 18-year-old takes on Zinchenko, and Hudson-Odoi crosses to the near post. Otamendi was able to recover and adjust and head it away. Nodded back for Chelsea to the edge of the penalty area, but it's won back on the edge of the box for City from Bernardo Silva. A little ball forward towards Sané. It might open up here. Oh, Rudiger has stumbled. Now Sané's onto this. Now Aguero is there as well, and Aguero shoots, and it's saved by Kepa down to his left.
Wow. Raheem Sterling has given Aguero a look that just kind of says, how are you not passing me this ball? You can't always be going against Sergio Aguero on the edge of the box with a ball at his feet, but Raheem Sterling's got a 1v1 with the keeper if he just slots him in. The slip from Rudiger was crucial. Sané's running, Aguero takes it off him, he's just got to slide it to him, and he's in 1v1. He shoots and it ends up being an easy save for Kepa, who seems to have really done some damage to his hamstring. I say he does damage to his hamstring. He's sat with his legs apart with his head on the floor somehow. Now,
Can you not do that?
If you snap your hamstring, you definitely can't do that.
He is sitting there, legs apart.
It might be cramp, I don't know.
Could be, yeah.
It could be cramp, but he's literally got his head on his shins almost.
Willy Caballero, it looks as though we will see Caballero coming on for the penalty shootout. I think they're going to make the change. Yeah, he runs back here. There's a quick warm-up. Willy Caballero at the age of 37, little sprint down the touchline, then back up, then got a massive slap on the back from Maurizio Sarri and told to go and get ready. You're coming on for Kepa Arrizabalaga, who is not going to see this game out. And incidentally, that save there, when you see it again, as I just did, it very nearly crept under his dive to his left.
It's not one to take a risk.
No.
Get him off.
So Willy Caballero's coming on. He's made 7 appearances this season. They've all been in the Cups, including Thursday night against Mauro. So he did play this week. And
Kepa's saying no. He's waving his finger saying no.
Kepa's saying no, but Sarri is saying... What is he saying? He's saying, come on, to Willy Caballero. He says, come on. He puts his thumb up over his shoulder and he says to Willy Caballero, come on, sit down. You're not going on.
I think he's going to put it. He's speaking to Cudicini right now as we speak, and he's saying, get him off.
Penalty shootout is, well, whatever remains of this final minute of extra time and added time away. Kepa is stretching, he's standing outside the penalty area, and he's motioning now here to say that he can stay on. He with both palms, he's saying, he's putting them down, he's putting his arms to the ground, his palms to the ground, and he's saying, I'm staying on. And he says no, he's waving away Caballero, who's waiting to come on. And still, the board is up with Kepa's number and Caballero's number, and Kepa is standing and saying, no, I'm not coming off. And David Luiz has now walked back into the middle of the half to tell the young Chelsea goalkeeper, the world's most expensive goalkeeper, don't forget, you're going to have to leave the field. And now we've got deadlock here because Kepa will not give way.
He's not leaving.
And John Moss is now having to trot across. And David Luiz is there as well. And Kepa is saying to referee Moss, look, go and tell them I'm all right.
It's not a comfortable scenario at all.
The manager has got to take charge here, and in actual fact Sarri now steps forward and Sarri is beckoning Kepa to come off the field. And David Luiz is talking to him, and Kepa is still standing there in the middle of the half. There are only 2 Chelsea players anywhere near this. David Luiz, who's talking with his hand in front of his mouth, and still Kepa stands there with his palms apart.
He's not coming off.
To say, I am not leaving he's turned around. He's walking away. So what is Maurizio Sarri going to do about this? John Moss has now walked across and the referee is talking to the Chelsea head coach. And Gianfranco Zola has joined the conversation. And Willy Caballero stands.
They're going to have to say leave him.
And whatever has happened in that conversation, they've decided to leave Kepa on the field. Have you ever seen anything like that?
He's screaming at Zola now. He's screaming at everybody.
Sarri.
He's telling somebody else to come on now, look.
And now he's ripped open his jacket top and he's thrown down. And Maurizio Sarri is walking away.
Has he been sent
and he's
off?
walking down the tunnel.
Has he been sent off, though?
Has he been sent off? Well, if he was, that wasn't apparent.
There was no red card shown, was there?
He pointed at the bench, he pointed at Caballero, he threw something down, and he walked off down the tunnel.
No, he's not been sent off.
Let's go down to Juliet, who is down there just a few yards away from where this drama's played out.
Well, actually, you'll see Maurizio Sarri now back in the technical area. Just that moment, he was going absolutely mad. He is so angry. He was
Jules, we'll come back to you in a sec for more on that, because Chelsea are just building an attack here, and we are now into the second minute of added time. Jorginho runs into Sterling. Sterling now plays it away from Kante. This might be the last attack of the final. It's 0-0. Aguero to Zane. Zane slips it through, but he passes it straight at Emerson, who is able to play the ball away, and Chelsea will work it away. And then Emerson's still going. There might be time for one last Chelsea attack. I mean, how much time will be added on for all of that? Goodness only knows. Emerson now is bundled over by Gundogan, and it's a free kick to Chelsea, 15 yards inside the Manchester City half. Back down to Juliet.
Yeah, maybe he was just gesticulating because he told Willy Caballero to get his kit off, and get ready to come on. And then he walked as far as the tunnel doors, and it was like as if, I'm doing this, but then he just turned gently and walked back and took his position. Now, as Willy Caballero is still up and down in the dugout. I'm not really sure he knows what's going on.
Juliet, Maurizio Sarri has reappeared.
He has.
He's now back in the coaching area.
Yes, he is. And he's still pointing to Willy Caballero and his backroom team. He is far from happy with what happened with that substitution that didn't happen.
Well, that whole episode, that has been extraordinary. And we have now played nearly 4 minutes of added time, and still we play on. Azpilicueta hits a long pass downfield. Penalties just a few moments away, and it looks as though it will be Kepa who will stay on the field. And Willy Caballero, I see him standing up now. He's taking his gloves, and he's actually, and Willy Caballero is now walking away. He is storming away. Ball up towards Aguero inside the penalty area. Aguero couldn't find the pass square to Jaime. Azpilicueta stepped forward and cleared it away. Still we play on. We are playing 3 minutes of added time, but we've already had almost 4 of that. Ball's deflected out for a throw-in to Chelsea halfway inside their own half. So it looks as though Willy Caballero has stormed off and gone down the tunnel and disappeared. What a story. Whatever happens over the course of the remainder of this, whatever happens in penalties, if Chelsea win this on penalties. And also, we've got to see how Kepa stands up in a penalty shootout too. I mean, what if he gets injured during the penalty shootout? Here's David Luiz. Still we play on. We're into the 5th minute of added time. Higuain flicks it to Hazard. Hazard now has Loftus-Cheek on the left, approaching the penalty area. Eden Hazard still going. Plays it square to Kante, and then Leroy Sané arrives just to poke it away. And there is the final whistle. Well, what a dramatic end that was. What a dramatic end to extra time that was, with the goalkeeper, the Chelsea goalkeeper, Kepa Arrizabalaga, refusing to leave the field when Maurizio Sarri wanted to replace him with Willy Caballero. Then it seemed that Maurizio Sarri had walked off. Then it seemed that Willy Caballero stormed down the tunnel, and Kepa will now be in goal for the penalty shootout. It has finished after extra time. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0.
Well, it was childlike in the fact that Arrizabalaga refused to come off, and then equally childlike in the tantrum that Sarri stormed off down the tunnel. Even the steward, you could see him mouthing, has he been sent off? Anyway, penalty shootout for only the 5th time in the history of the League Cup. Chelsea to go first. It's in the end away to our left, which is where the Chelsea fans are. Jorginho up against Ederson. He tried a little cheeky skip in a penalty shootout semi-final against Spurs. He's done so again, and saved by Ederson. Low down to his left. Why try the fancy stuff? Hit it, don't mess about, you get caught out like that.
I think it's, we knew it was going to happen. and there's no way that Ederson has not done his homework when watching Jorginho take penalties. And I think the thing that makes it more obvious is that when he does the skip, he never goes the other way, because it's all about sitting the goalkeeper down. And Ederson almost stood there kind of going, I know I'm going to save this.
Kepa received a great ovation from the Chelsea fans. Now he's got to face the first penalty from Gundogan, who sends him the wrong way. And Manchester City lead in the shootout 1-0. Excellent, brilliantly put away. Took the first penalty against Leicester City earlier in the competition.
Yeah.
He scored that one, and he scored this one. It's 1-0 to Manchester City.
Nothing he can do about that one. Brilliantly dispatched penalty by Ilkay Gundogan, and it's Azpilicueta. Looks like he's going to be stepping up for the next one.
Azpilicueta then places the ball down on the spot. Manchester City have their noses in front. Azpilicueta finds the top right-hand corner. Nothing that Ederson could do about that one.
Wow. I mean, he must have had a little panic up for a minute, because that has gone right in the top corner from Azpilicueta. He's ran to the fans behind. He's grabbed Kepa by the neck and shook him to say, come on.
It's going to be Sergio Aguero now to take the next one. Already this season, he scored 5 goals against Chelsea. And here he is now, just placing the ball on the spot. Kepa will take 3, 4, 5 steps back. Sergio Aguero with his right foot, a little delay from him, and he has managed to score, but underneath the body of the diving Kepa to his left. He dived over it, the Chelsea goalkeeper. It's 2-1 to City in the shootout.
I mean, the celebration of Aguero says it all. He's almost embarrassed. He's almost embarrassed. He's hit it softly. He's tried to go to the keeper's left. I don't know what Kepa's doing. He's dived over the ball. It was not... I mean, after what has happened, it's not a mistake he can afford to make. He's got to save that. That is the issue.
Manchester City lead 2-1 in the penalty shootout after 2 spot kicks. Emerson now, the left back. Only goal for Chelsea's come in this competition against Liverpool. He faces Ederson now, and the keeper gets something on it, but the ball still goes past Ederson, and the Chelsea left back puts the ball, as Ederson dived to his left, into the back of the net. That again was a tight one.
Yeah, it's another one that I think the goalkeeper will be disappointed with. He gets across to it really well, gets a couple of hands to it, and just couldn't quite get enough purchase really on the ball.
It's Leroy Sané next. This is Manchester City's 3rd penalty. Only Chelsea have missed so far. Sané to make it 3-2 on his left foot. Kepa dancing around on the line again. Here comes Sané, and Kepa saves it! Diving down to his right. Got both hands to this one. He pushes it away, and Leroy Sané has to turn and walk back towards the halfway line. It remains 2-2 with 2 penalties each to go.
He needed that. He massively needed that, Kepa, because he should have saved the one before. Leroy Sané trying to slot it to the keeper's right. He goes the right way. It's an easy save.
Now in the shootout against Tottenham at Stamford Bridge, David Luiz had a run-up akin to that of Bob Willis, marauding at Headingley all those years ago. Now the frizzy-haired Brazilian gets the ball off referee John Moss. Will he have another run-up from the boundary ropes?
Did you see Kepa on the wrong side there?
Yeah, John Moss has just told him to get back. So he's taken a few steps. He's outside the penalty area. Will he go beyond the D? He just blasted it last time. Here he comes. David Luiz. Oh! Ederson dived to his left. And Chelsea have been unable to take the advantage. It actually struck the post. The goalkeeper went the right way, but it cannons back off the post. And Chelsea have missed another spot kick.
He's usually so good at penalties, David Luiz. I can think of a couple at the World Cup that he's taken, obviously big European competitions. I'm always very confident he'll stick it away when he steps up. Just didn't get it right that time.
Bernardo Silva then, he's wasting no time. The little bearded Portuguese on his left foot. Kepa on the line again. Here he is. Oh, and he's played it brilliantly. A lovely little dink, swirled it in, and Manchester City on the brink of defending the Carabao Cup successfully. They're 3-2 up and 1 penalty each to go.
It all comes down to this man. That was as cool as you like from Bernardo Silva, putting a good display today. Just clipped it down the middle, a penalty we see quite a lot. Again, this man who's had a brilliant game this afternoon. Keep his team in it.
He has to score, Eden Hazard. This is the final spot kick for Chelsea. They're 3-2 down in the shootout. Hazard with a short run up against Ederson. Hazard now, delightfully floated straight down as Ederson dives to his right. Eden Hazard scores. He's done what he had to do.
Wow.
That was confident. 3-3, but City now have a chance to win it.
Wow. Does he have any nerves at all, that guy? I mean, the tension in the building, for him to do that and just dink it was sublime.
The little Belgian Iceman. Might not be enough though, and now it's Raheem Sterling, who grew up within sight of Wembley Stadium. He must have dreamed years ago of being in a position like this. One kick to win the cup for his team. Kepa's on the line. If Sterling scores, City win. Right-footed, here he is. He's blasted it in! Sterling scores! Manchester City win the cup! And the quadruple is still alive! Sterling turns away, he's mobbed by his teammates. Ederson too. Kepa, after the drama that played out here, the Chelsea goalkeeper has to walk away, a beaten man. Maurizio Sarri watches on the sidelines. He's lost in his first major cup final, but what a story it turned into. Chelsea losing at Wembley, Manchester City winning here again. Great celebrations. They might complete an unprecedented quadruple. Well, first leg, tick. Celebrations, Manchester City celebrations. And Chelsea have to go to one another and console themselves. I can see Pep Guardiola out there. Where is Maurizio Sarri? I'm trying to see if I can find him somewhere. He's gone. He's gone. He's disappeared down the tunnel.
Which is a shame for me, because his players on the pitch today, in my opinion, have done him proud. You know, I think that was a performance for large parts that I think Chelsea fans should be proud of. They are an inferior team to Manchester City from a footballing point of view right now. They stayed in the game. They gave themselves a chance. They took it all the way to penalties, and for him not to be out there either consoling his players or congratulating the opposition shows a lack of class to me. Really does.
Well, we will talk so much more about that. 5 Live, 606 to follow. 08085 909 693. I don't doubt where they're going to be starting the phone in, so get your calls in for that. 85058 hashtag 606. But it's finished. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0 after extra time in the 2019 Carabao Cup final, which was won by the defending champions Manchester City in a penalty shootout. 4-3 in the shootout, and Raheem Sterling, I can see him there being congratulated and hugged by his manager Pep Guardiola.